Two good guys I would have out of business.
Yeah, Lafayette.
I've never even seen if it works. They had all these, motors in them and everything that would
Yeah.
turn all the
Ooh.
capacitors.
I just remember Selectronics down on Franklin
Yeah.
Boulevard.
Yep.
There's that and Valley was across the street, right? Remember Valley Surplus?
Yeah, there was.
Whatever happened to surplus stores? They were my favorite.
Yeah.
I loved all that junk.
Remember Terry drove over with tanks.
There's one.
I mean, everybody's missing out on all the fun stuff running into the junk.
Then you could buy a telegraph key
that's
at
gone
a surplus
too.
store for 69
They're all gone,
cents.
aren't they?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
My Navy Flameproof
Yeah.
has $1 written on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It says $1.
$1.
Well, they were selling those things for $80, new old stock.
I know.
A few years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of people that bought those ones that Benell sold for like
That's what no, that was $80.
Right.
And then
That was the Benell was $80.
And then they
Yeah.
put them on eBay and nobody bids on them.
That's right.
You need to
People aren't gonna pay that much
Like we
money for
travel.
those things.
probably go next year. Quartet may not last that long. So
There's a lot of them out there for 25 and $30, so,
you're thinking of retiring.
All right, if your name's not on the list, please add it into one of those boxes and initial it with your call sign so I know who you are. Although I know who all you are, but just for
Who
the
know
sake
you
of it.
are?
I don't, who are
That's
you,
been
by the
almost
way?
5 years. We just rolled.
nonetheless.
My wife always asks how many people were there.
Well, we had a road trip out. That was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And she got travel books for every state. So as we're driving down the road, I said, Farmington's coming down. What's in Farmington? Well, she says there's a botanical garden out 6 miles. So we go all the way across the country. That's how we did it. We had a great time.
There was no heat
And
on.
then coming home.
Just checking at home there, people. Making sure you can hear.
Stop rain until we got to the peak of the Sierras.
Look at me.
And then we came into the drought.
And he had some real nice old, big old college stuff laid on.
We
the
went
floor.
back to San
Other
Diego.
than that, I mean, it
Very my dad. And we
Just
rented a car, and that's the best way to do it. You don't buy your own car.
Oh, yeah.
And then he closed.
Can you take it out of state? Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. We'll see you in a week.
Oh,
See you
last
in 2
one
weeks.
that tried it was
Oh, my goodness, I'm in here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think I paid my dues.
It was like up in North.
I don't know about that, well,
For a couple of years, some young kid.
Maybe
Mike's
Mike,
kinda
maybe
nasty.
Mike, yeah, maybe he'll
He's a
read
money
it.
grubber.
Read a
What's
list
that?
of who hasn't paid.
about 25
Paid?
years ago. I kinda
Paid.
missed all that.
For our dues?
I
Yeah,
remember driving by the radio place.
There's only like 4.
What is your call?
that have
Right.
paid.
What is your call?
AI 6
I
years.
don't think I ever stopped there.
I already signed them in.
Oh, you already got it,
okay.
CW.
Would you
Why
rather
not
pay
call
now
that, that's
than
my
buy
name,
cash?
TW, right?
That's a cool
Yeah.
visual.
Especially since I don't have any
Chris
cash.
knows
I was
most.
born in TW in my blood, I guess.
But the guy in Auburn, that was
No,
just
we
sad.
had to go get a bunch of stuff
Had to be a cheap, you
notarized.
know,
Oh,
look at
yeah,
it.
They charge more if you use a credit card than cheap down and gave you money.
They charge you more.
Yeah.
If you use a credit card,
Really?
they
Only
don't
3%?
Probably more like $10 off by the time you get all done.
I think what happens is a lot of these guys take it off the books. They have cash, they don't put it on the books. They don't pay tax on it.
There is that.
Yeah, so that also
We didn't
figures
talk
in the
about
price.
Either they're a very small operation.
I'll have you read it. Probably sooner. Well, yeah, maybe in 5. We'll give people time to get here just in
Either
case.
way, yeah, we just,
It's really cute.
I'm surprised how few people are here.
it happened last year too, remember? We had like 5 people here.
Was that right?
Oh,
Yeah, I
that.
don't remember that. I'm gonna look it up. We ended up doing the election online, you remember?
Yeah, we're gonna do it again anyway.
How can you say no? I mean, it's just a play.
I'm gonna give him a real good offer, I can't refuse.
There's some idiot
I'll give him a free bottle, I'll give him DB spray.
every other
It's
week.
gonna be run for secretary.
What's that, one more time?
I'll give him a free bottle of DB
There's supposed to
spray.
be a
Yeah,
10 meter side
yeah.
band, yeah, but that's okay.
That'll entice him.
That'll entice them.
I gotta get one of those.
Well, right, I've got some parts coming in.
that doesn't work, what will?
Oh, this is already back.
Mike?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, sir.
Remember, so you're subbing for the dinners and stuff that you.
Yeah, that's.
No, no.
Not with the church?
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to because we actually charge $6 for the meal,
What are you doing here?
and I have an account that I
Ooh, and
use
you used
the money.
Okay.
So I'm actually
You didn't use surface mount.
No, it's all through
way
house stuff.
in the
The
box.
guys go.
Oh, are you with it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I thought we were talking
Donation is
about.
appreciated but not necessary.
Okay.
Use that for your club dues.
Here you go.
There you go. All right, Art has paid his club dues. Just as a reminder to everybody who hasn't paid for 2020 yet, we will be collecting dues starting tonight through the end of
Where's my
January.
damn receipt?
And I'll show you. You want your receipt? Here's your receipt. Phil. Art. There
I'm
you
sure I
go.
must trust you.
What a deal, what a deal.
Your receipt is going to be your member name and call won't disappear from the website.
And if it does,
And if it does, then you know, somehow you got swindled.
I got your swindle.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Windle
5,
who?
6, 7,
I'm gonna
8,
try a new
9,
trick.
10. 10 of them. Okay.
So if I'm secretary, we don't pay my dues.
Oh, no, too full scale.
Yeah.
So it's MCW, huh?
Let's see here. Let's check out the W6SFM.
That's exactly what
website.
it is. MCW.
Well, hello.
You like it?
Hi, Carol.
We waited to
Yeah,
start
all
the
you really
meeting.
need to do, I guess, is see what the voltage output on the microphone is and then match that.
We got it covered.
Yeah.
We got it all covered. Right back?
How's that loop antenna that you made work on CW?
Just like it does on anything else.
Yeah. A big deal.
All right.
I'm still playing. I have not found my optimum.
Now, MFJ charged $100 for their little doodad that did that stuff. They don't sell
Mine's
anymore.
$5.
They don't sell anymore. They don't sell anymore. You can't even find them.
500 or $5?
$5.
Oh.
James, you're not with us yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay. No,
So
no
what do you got
rush.
there,
No
Osborne?
pressure. I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave you
It's,
off the
uh,
roster.
Like buying a used car.
Right
Yes.
amount of voltage coming out.
Well, there's a little potentiometer there so you can modulate
Yeah.
at the proper level.
Yeah.
And there's a
Where's the
little
mic
switch.
switch?
As soon as Carol comes back, we'll
That'd be whatever.
we'll get
plug you
going.
need to plug into your.
It's the only thing you don't get.
Schematic
is
one.
$5.
Is this
You
yours
never
or
radio
somebody?
Yeah, everybody.
Oh, is that for art? What art?
Yeah. So you
Oh,
guys
well, he
start
could have
together
saved that for
sometime
show and
now?
tell. Now you
that's
just
up to
now
Art.
we have no show and tell.
I
Okay, well,
talked
you
to
got-
the
well,
board.
you gotta-
All right, listen.
I just brought it, you know.
No, pass it around again. Thank you, Dale. Pass it around again. We'll come to you and you can explain the whole thing
Well,
We'll see how well it works.
to the rest of us.
We'll let Art figure it all out.
Yeah.
It's up to him.
It's not like it's that.
You need to fill out an
You
application.
know what the average usage?
Do you know where it is?
of ham
Online,
repeater
right?
is?
Yeah, you can even do it here during the break if you want.
4%.
that'd be cool.
It's like really simple application.
4% usage time on ham radio repeaters. That's it.
That's why a lot of
And ours is lower than that.
It's NKR?
LAR repeater wouldn't be used at all.
Oh, let me see.
Well, that's
gonna
why
do
the
it first.
back of.
Oh, you got money, Chris?
Oh, I got money.
Wow.
And said, please buy us
It's the
out.
first.
Oh, no.
Daddy let you leave the house with money?
Yeah,
All right,
well,
this
they
is
didn't
like,
have the
pretty
money to pay
exciting.
their bills.
That's a $1 bill, Chris. It's a
Because
$1 bill.
nobody's going to the
wallet here.
club and use
Get
it.
it.
terrible.
It's a
money.
20.
And they had all these
20, yeah,
bills, and so they went
Well,
to.
$1 is
the
a
richest
dollar
club
bill.
in
Yeah,
What
I
town.
happened to?
There's a dollar.
That's a $1 bill.
$2.
That's right. Shall I make change?
Sold it to him.
And they basically said,
I didn't know
okay,
it.
we'll give you the whole thing if you
All
say,
right.
and they go, okay,
So I
fine.
have
And they pay
Chris,
their bills,
Dale, James,
You know,
Oh, okay.
Art.
so it's the
Phil,
back
okay, I will remember who those people are.
Society now.
Yeah.
But that,
John's the
back
delinquent.
30 years ago, it was big.
Well, we had auto patches and you didn't have cell
You,
phones.
you know,
Well, cell phones are like
the thing that
$250
is
for a
really
cheap
becoming
plan,
an issue
you know.
is,
Bob?
Okay.
the repeaters.
How are you?
It's higher.
Tired?
Send data. That's-
Going to climb.
I'll tell you, I remember when
Yep, been doing that.
the
This is,
UC
this is
Davis
the
amateur radio
one day of the
club
week
got
that,
a
big
five-channel
violin.
Drake
Is this one day?
It'll cost them
Today
Miss
is
Miss
the day?
River City's Christmas party and all that stuff.
It
But
was a
that's
lot of
okay.
money.
Oh,
And
yesterday
River
was,
City didn't
cost
pay
like
me.
12 or 15
Right, yesterday
bucks,
was
right?
the-
You
All
didn't
from
get it.
or
International
Tuesday,
Christmas.
Tuesday.
But I had to get it from Drake.
Oh, yeah,
But
budget free.
it was, they had.
all right,
two
let me see
They
here.
They were big time.
So, Carol's not here, but I assume she's like running downstairs to get
Yeah, to
something.
go get something.
Yeah.
Was she here earlier?
She was, she dropped that
She
box
dropped
off, the mystery box. Hey, hopefully it's not like a pipe bomb.
A pipe bomb.
She's gonna take us out. She's decided
We're gonna
she's
get everybody-
siding with N6NA and she's
I got a
gonna
group Christmas
remote
present.
blow it up.
Mike needed a
Oh,
shot
she
of
keeping her
martini
pipe bomb
so he
going
could
off,
continue.
They don't take it.
Ooh, I just choked on the olives.
Easier when you get
Spit out the pit.
Yeah, I had no idea there was a pit in
That
there.
box starts ringing duck, right?
It starts flashing.
Right, when you start hearing the beep, beep.
No,
I don't understand that. Why is it in the movies, they always put some sort of audible noise on it and a flashing light?
Here's the bomb.
That's right, exactly. Like, give me a break.
2 elements.
Back in the old days.
Ah, here
Thank
we
you.
go.
Whoa, look at you.
All right, now that Carol's here,
Hey, all right.
let us start with what I keep forgetting every month, and that is, oh, Carol, if you will sign that, I take my notes on the back of that, so. I figured that way, when we do the history of the club after I'm dead, all of these sign-in sheets, all my notes that I take during the meeting are here, even though it's in the
Do
newsletter.
they belong in the Smithsonian?
They might. It depends if between now and then I can create some wild invention that,
Look at me to hit.
I could sign your name on it, Phil, and then we know it will end up in the
You
Smithsonian.
got a rope on the towel, right?
But, all right, so if we would, let's have Chris read our notes from last month, and then after we do that, we'll just say hello so everybody knows who we are.
Okay, here we go. All right, guys, we met last month here on April 7th, right here in this very room,
April,
November.
November, thank you.
We had 12 members and 4 guests. And we had a new member join us, KM6GYM, that's Dave. And what else can I tell you here? Members discussed their experiences at PacificCon, the ones that went. And Mike, MQL, he demonstrated Morse code at the Scout Jamboree on the air and the Internal Flame event up at the Gibbons Ranch, yeah.
Gibbons
Is that?
Ranch, yep.
Well done.
Yes, sir. He also discussed the results of the California QSO party held at John, WB6UBK's place. CW beginner class, it probably came to a halt after 10 lessons with 8 out of the 12 members that signed up.
11, actually.
11, oh, that's even
I
better.
extended it 1, and we had a really good last lesson, I
Oh,
think.
beautiful. And Rob, and the KIX showed us pictures of the old NSS receive site
That's right.
in Chattanooga, Maryland. He also brought along his 1980 Vibroplex original, a brown base on it, and apparently it had the Broadway address, but it was manufactured in Portland, Maine. I'm trying to figure that out. Mike, K6LQ, showed a custom-made single-lever panel manufactured by Mark Johnson, AC7AZ in 2005. Nice key. It was on a clipboard. See, Mike and MQ also talked about the Bug Roundup event coming up. And the Wells Fargo account was $652.70. PayPal was $5,047.86, which comes out to $55.47.86. On the air, we had a total of 4 sessions, 4 nets. Total Q&I was 31. And online was, where did the online go? Hello. 12 online, so
3112?
only had 12.
So 3112?
12 online,
And 31 on air?
yeah.
31, okay. That's not bad.
No,
31's not bad. For how many sessions?
4.
4 sessions. Okay.
Oh, by the way, guys, we're gonna have 5 sessions this month, and the last one is on the 31st, so get on with your straight keys. It'll be straight key night,
That's right. And when is Straight Key Night?
Tuesday night, 31st.
That's
The
right.
first.
December
It's on
31st.
the first, and that is the first night, just for you.
That's right. So give me 1 second, and I'll give you the new PayPal. Hopefully they don't try to double log me here.
Mike, you want that door left open?
You can close it if you like.
I say your heater's running, Mike.
Yeah, that might shut the noise off anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wow, those are real straight keys.
Yeah, they are.
Those are real straight keys.
They are.
Yeah, I've had those for a long time.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just looking up the account information. Oh, of course I changed
Oh,
this password. I have to remember it.
You're pretty sure right up on that. Family owned. Night Viking.
Still around.
Well, I think
It
someone,
got- yeah, the
someone
name got
owned, yeah, the
purchased.
name got purchased, and
Yeah.
they're online, but, they're not what they used to be, so.
Think so.
Neither am I.
You know what? I'm gonna use my phone.
Are you, but you're not for sale.
Would you have mine?
I don't know.
Make an offer.
okay.
Just waiting on Wells Fargo here. Stand by.
PayPal or well,
Too easy.
Okay, so according to the internet, or the interwebs as we call them, looks like the PayPal account is at $5,597.08, 55.9708, and the Wells Fargo account is at 605.70, 605.70. And then, because I'm not a math genius, I'm
Nice
just gonna.
K4 lineup for that.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say is, we could probably vote to buy the club station and store it at my house.
60572.
Or somebody else's house.
60570.
Trade stories,
You know,
right?
I was gonna ask
So
you a
total,
question about
the total is $6,202.78,
What are the
620,278.
typical annual expenses of this operation?
We've bought coax, balance, we've
I mean, dollars and
upgraded,
cents, what do you typically spend in a
a few hundred.
year? So you've got about 12 years worth of operating expenses.
Well,
in
hang
the
on.
treasury.
The expenses have been extremely low because Howard Nurse has been paying for our server and our hosting. And he's been paying for our domain name.
It's a technology
So
expense.
all of the technologies have been paid for, and generally speaking, that expense would cost us about $1,000 a year. So we've been
So
very,
you got 6 years worth of expenses.
right, well,
$1,000 a year for what?
for the server, the hosting, and the domain. So, yeah, it's not cheap when you do all three of those things. So we're very grateful for him. And clearly, if you don't already know, Howard receives his membership for free.
What?
I know. I fought it out with him, and I said, I'll give you a discount. And he said, no, I'll pay you the full amount. And I said, that's okay, Howard. No, so he's very generous that way. However, we talked about it last year that this would be the last year potentially, and we would have to move to a new server and redo the domain registration and pay for hosting. And like I said, you know, that's not free. So if you have a server in your house and you
Yeah.
want to host the website,
You know, Deb generally does that.
who?
My wife.
Oh,
Sure,
does she
Deb.
have her own? Oh, right. Well, Then the only problem is we would only be up during breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
She doesn't do breakfast.
Mike,
She doesn't do
what are
breakfast.
your requirements?
Why do you really need a server?
Well, we have to pay for a server if we're not having a
I
server.
understand that, but what happens if we don't have one?
Then you have no website because
No website.
someone has to host
No, we
it
have
and
to
put it
host
on
the
their
website.
You
server.
pay for hosting, that's not $1,000 a year.
Yeah, do your
It's
math.
about-
GoDaddy.com.
That's
It's
a
about-
good deal.
You told me it should be
Yours
$10
is a
year.
free website, that's different. You can get the hosting for a year for about 100, 150 bucks.
Right.
But you are not a commercial site, so you wouldn't have the emails, you wouldn't have the storage, you don't have all the things that come with a multi-domain.
So if we had our own server,
We're not gonna go
You
there,
don't want-
because that means that it has to live in somebody's location and be up 24 hours a day. You can't use like a Pentium 4 in a shack to do
no,
it.
like,
No,
I
no.
mean like an i5 or an i7 with.
We could do it, yeah, we could, but you also have to, then you have to pay for the internet service. So you're talking 40 bucks a month on that right there.
We don't
So
do that.
that's $400 right there.
Only Phil paid.
We don't do any of that stuff.
Well, what do you do?
How do you do it?
Carol, how was that set up? Our website,
Oh, we use Google Sites.
Google
That's
site?
free.
Yeah,
And, we have Google Apps, so they do our email and everything.
right. I mean, we could do that, but I really would rather not hand our website over to somebody else.
And then you could do streaming as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that would be limited by that, because eventually Google's gonna want you to pay.
They're gonna do it eventually.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I don't think that they host
But they love us.
domain emails either.
Besides, if I
They, you
got
could
tracking, everything
have
is due.
at Gmail, but they wouldn't give you at W6SFM or at
I
at 678. Do you have that? But are you limited to 10 or something?
No, we can have up to 50, I think. Well, we got in early, we were grandfathered, we have a free account.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Things aren't free like they used to be. But in any case, it would be anywhere between 600 and 1,000, depending on how we did it. That's normal for a website, on a commercial website.
Yeah, that won't break
I'm
our
just saying, they had two of them that they were selling the servers at UCD. and
Oh,
they had-
yeah,
they had
server's
two.
nothing, server is $1,000. For $1,000
These
we
were
could,
These were $100.
yeah, I mean, for $1,000 though, we could have a nice i7 server that would be good enough for the amount of traffic that we get. But we have to also be able to, in order to have all the features on the website, we also have to have enough throughput on our domain in order to,
Yep.
we have to have.
Justify that.
Right. So, and we also have to pay for the internet service at least 40 megabyte second transfer rate. We can't do like a $12
That's not gonna work.
a month internet service. It's just not going to handle the traffic.
No, you gotta have
So-
So
something.
much for my Atari.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can put a Commodore 64 up and do
But it's
16 or 8-bit graphics
I
on
have an
it.
extra tape drive.
If you want to see what the website looks like on 8-bit graphic, I can reduce it here and I'll show you. And it'll look like Donkey Kong from 1985. But
That'd do me
Who'd
good.
have
Fine.
thought? Donkey Kong.
we could do that. We could do that. No, I mean, I'm not opposed to.
Send about something multiple meaning.
Yeah, but we do buy stuff from time to time, and of course we pay for the field day food, the California QSO food. We should be paying John back if he has expenses. I didn't see receipts, but and North American QSO party, like when we had it at your place, all the pizzas
That's
and
not much.
everything
Well,
was
see-
pretty much paid for.
River City, we spend about $3 grand a year.
That sounds about right. But you have a
on
repeater.
expenses, And that's just
Yeah,
about
we
what
got a
we pay.
repeater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and-
Field day and
So
all
it's
that.
Yeah.
got to break even.
Mhm. Yeah, this club, I tighten down the hatches a little tight, and I keep it, under 1,000 a year for sure. But with web service, we would definitely be at 1,000. So if we do have to move the server, rehost and do that, we are looking at about $600 of extra expenses. And then the other $400 or $500 is what we would normally spend through the year. So we'd be at $1,000 a year, like I said. Right now, we're probably more close to around 600. So, yes, we have savings, but it's better to, oh, and then we have the liability insurance. And, yeah, ARRL, affiliated club membership. So, you know, there's a few things. We do that so that we can send the QSL cards. I don't know, I'll mention it again tonight since we're on the subject. If you have DX cards for the QSL Bureau, the club can send those cards in to the Bureau and have them distributed through the world. And I believe it's like, what, $5 a pound, Carol, do you know?
I don't recall.
Something like that. It's something like $5 a pound. And a pound of cards is, you know, pretty decent sized stack of QSL cards. So if you're working DX and you want to send QSL cards around the world, the Bureau still runs, and they're all over the world. You know, sure, the Logbook of the World kind of took over that
It's going to take
domain,
over, yeah.
but
It's kind of hard to put on your walls.
yeah, but people still send cards. As a matter of fact, I think last month
Most people put them in a shoebox.
oh, you know what? Maybe it's in here, or if it isn't, I should have put it in here. Mentioning that, actually, yeah, I think I did bring it last month because if you recall, if you were here last month, we signed our QSL card. This is the club's QSL card. Has everybody seen it? I'll pass it around one more time in case you haven't seen it. We all signed the QSL card for somebody who was in the bug roundup that QSL does. Yeah.
Oh, it's field
So
day.
we have to, was it? No, it wasn't field day. We also sent a card for field day too. We did get 2 or 3 cards for field day. And those are a little larger than a standard size QSL card, but I get like 1,000 of those for something like $30.
What a steal.
So just having it a little bit larger than a regular QSL card, Vistaprint will print those postcards out in full color, double-sided, with anything you want for like, I think it might be 25 for 500 maybe, and 40 or 35 for 1,000. It's a deal though. I mean, when you see the card, it's a glossy
Are you
4-color.
sending these in an envelope?
And yeah, I send them in a number 10
Because,
envelope.
yeah, the post office might have problems trying to.
Oh, they'd post it.
Yeah.
I could do it. It's just that I don't like the idea of spending money on a card and then having them cancel right over on top of it. Although some people like that, you know, they kind of like to collect the cancels.
One of the things I got to do is to interface with a lot of the mailers.
Right.
Because I was right outside the friggin' door of the office that handled that stuff, so they said, oh, he'll take care of it.
Yeah.
But with a glossy front like that, the barcode, the machines
Yeah.
spray doesn't like that stuff.
But it's also, the addressing would go on the back.
Yeah, well.
I don't think the back is glossy.
Well, you know, but the problem is with those, they go to a box and mail people. And then it gets run through the machine.
Oh, I see. The
3
machine
times,
actually
and then it's-
readdresses it in a barcode.
Yeah, and then
Got
the
it.
machine, then the people, someone will catch it because it'll always be rejected. They'll turn it around and then it won't know where to send it because everything's in the wrong field.
Understood.
And, yeah, it was kind of hard working with some.
Well, that's why they raised minimum wage to $13 an hour so that the postman can look at the card and read the address.
Well, but they get a lot more than minimum wage.
Get more than that.
They get a lot more.
I want my money back.
Yeah, I think
No.
They make good money.
In any case, yeah, we do put them in a number 10 envelope.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's if you want to ride safe.
I had a nice rubber stamp that I use for the return address that I stamp on the envelope, and it disappeared. So I suspect that it went behind my desk, which are unmovable objects.
Completely, yeah.
So the rubber stamp is lost
Yeah,
forever.
I also,
I'll tell you more
CAP,
anyway.
W6SFM sent me a crystal and 2 small capacitors.
Yeah,
So I can change my HW16 20 meters.
right.
Well, they put them in a regular envelope.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm lucky I even got them.
Yeah,
Because
Lucky.
they went through a machine.
but they were in a bubble wrap or something, weren't they? Really, just like a
He
static bag
He
and,
put them in a regular envelope.
yeah.
And anything
Sticks up.
that sticks up.
Yeah.
is 99%
Crushed.
of the time is gonna get stripped out of those machines, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna come along and we'll.
Yeah, right into the trash.
Send it to the Nixie room and they'll get rid of it.
That's too bad.
But,
Well, at
but
least
everything
John-
arrives safely, but I can't tell you how many watches and rings and, yeah, so some nice stuff got ripped out of the zone. We have no idea where it went. So we just said, okay, here. And if
Yeah.
somebody didn't claim it within 90 days, the post office just made a bunch of money. They make millions of dollars a year off of stuff people losing mail.
Considering how much they lose each year, they better make a few million.
Well, actually, it's because the government takes $8 billion a year right off the top of their operating budget. So
Sure, makes sense.
that's why they're losing money.
The post office is pretty good with
That's got
insurance.
anything to do with where we ship everything from China for free?
Yeah, China is amazing. You can get, and of course, that may change after December. I think the tariffs are going to start for those electronic goods.
Yeah.
But they're already collecting tariffs like DigiKey. If you buy anything from China, they're already putting
They'll jack the rates
they're
up.
already putting tariff. No, it shows up as a separate category of tariff.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like 2 cents or 5 cents on a $50 order. It's very reasonable
For now.
considering. Yeah. But it is going up again, and that's what they waited until after December to raise that, because I think it's a linear increase over the years until they break down and finally decide.
Yeah.
But in any case, let's introduce ourselves so that everybody knows who we are. Online, you can raise your hand. You can pick whoever you want to be. If you need the club roster so that you can choose a name, please, by all means, you can keep your anonymity.
Impersonate people.
So I'm Mike, N6MQL. Most of you probably know who I am. And
Hi, everybody. Carol, KP4MD.
James, W6SFM.
Errors, KM6TVV.
Dale, KE7WJR.
John, WB6UK.
Robin 6KIX.
Phil, KD6RM.
Bob N6PGQ.
KD6GBY.
you're up, Chris.
All right, Chris, AI6U.
Okay, great. So we do have 3 online viewers, which is nice.
I'm one of them.
Oh, are you one of them? Okay.
Are you recording us?
We should all do that.
You still get logged. I would have found out it was you though, because your IP would show up, even on your phone. It's great how the world can be tracked through analytics. Oh, did you just disconnect or did somebody else? Oh, you're still on. Okay, good. How's the audio? Is it? Can you?
Oh,
hear?
yeah, it's good. It's nice and clear.
Yeah. I don't know if you were here when I announced the microphone.
Oh, that's
So yeah, so we have a new conference room microphone, so people are not going to be complaining about the audio, I hope. As you know, it was on the camera before, and the air conditioning intake is over there. It was just overwhelming it. So yeah, so we got that. It was only $25. Can't beat it for the price, and it completely improved the audio from what I'm told.
It does, sound good.
All right, so I scared everybody off. So, okay, let's see. News. We do have a new member. Actually, we have 2 new members. I guess I can tell you that James just paid dues for 2020. So let's welcome James. And during the break, he'll type his information in so that I can actually have a real record of his information, so we can officially enter him in. But since all the officers are here, we can unanimously say that we accept James as a member. Yes.
All right.
You didn't have to go through,
Reluctantly,
Mike, didn't
okay.
have to go through Hell Week first.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
pledge.
he did. He went through the class.
You did.
Okay.
All right,
All
okay.
right.
That was probably hell enough.
If you know,
So,
if you know the code,
What's that?
if you know the code now.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Good.
We also have another new member, Dave Minke, who's KM6GYM, and Dave was here last month. So you probably saw Dave.
We're gonna Dave here now, right?
Nope.
We're up to Carol.
Carol's here.
PTV. We're in between.
So you've got me, Carol, you got James.
That's what I'm looking for.
Is it W6NKR? Yes. W6NKR.
Oh, NKR, yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah.
Erez is here, and Dale is here.
Got him on.
John.
Yep, I got him.
Okay. All right, so welcome to Dave officially. I'm sure you all received an email notifying you that Dave was a new member, and you all rushed to your email to send him a welcome letter. Dave was also in the CW class, and people did well. We had a few people who showed up on the last night that were doing very well. So I was happy to see that. And like I said, we extended it one extra night because I'm here anyway. So I figured, what the heck, might as well do one more night. And we practiced name, QTH, RST, identifying them within just groups of random words. And then we practiced.
I still bring them through sample QSOs.
Yes.
Because they're all very cookie cutter.
Yes, yes, that's part of the course, is to do the standard QSO format. This time I started a little early, as opposed to starting in like week 6. I started in week 4, started introducing it.
Oh, that's different.
That way we'd really drive it home what we were looking to do with the, get on the air.
Right.
Yeah.
And also there was a lot of changes in the format of the class. I think that I accelerated it a lot faster than I did, and I actually added the last night because I felt like we had concentrated on so many of the other things that I kind of felt like I missed that one portion.
Right.
So I figured we'd do it as an extra bit.
I
So
think getting on the air and talking
Yes.
to people is 99.9% of
I
the
agree.
battle, and
I agree.
that's what really helped me.
It's like any language, that's what you gotta do. You gotta get yourself immersed in it.
Yeah, it really is that. If you dedicate your time to get on the air, you'll see
You
your
get like
speed
me,
will
I never got on the air.
skyrocket.
You can tell.
You'll be like Erez.
Yeah.
You'll be at 40 words a minute in no time. We talked about that last month. Any news on improving, getting that speed to rise anymore? Any of the
Thank you for putting me on the spot. I'm really comfortable at 13 words per minute, and I run faster, of course.
Oh, good. Well, you gotta,
Not so comfortable, so I'm back to something.
Well, that's what it's all about, not being comfortable.
that's right.
Because just like we said, that first QSO, when the adrenaline's flowing and you're sweating and
Rain
you're
doesn't
not catching
like
stuff. Yeah, you forget your name or how to send it. It's that adrenaline that gets you going and pushes you into being able to make a QSO. It's that same thing when you push yourself faster than you want to go. You just have to do it, and your body will catch up. Your brain will catch up with your.
It will. It will.
Yeah,
It might
it'll
take
catch
a while,
up
but
with
it
it.
will catch up.
Yeah, so I know you're comfortable, but that's the problem, is you can't let yourself be comfortable. You have to push. Now, you don't have to do it every QSO, but, give yourself a challenge at least once a day if you're on the air every day,
Or just listen around the band.
Sort of like interval training.
Yeah, well, I think that works. What do you think, Art?
Well, Mike, it's been an interesting year from like 0 to about 15 words a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But what I noticed is that you don't realize you're learning.
Right.
You don't realize you're gaining mastery. And then all of a sudden, you start connecting the dots more, and it's a natural thing.
Right.
Like the words, for instance, you start really recognizing them.
Yeah.
And that's a big help.
Yeah.
That's a big help. I'm not where I want to be,
Sure.
but but I am surprising myself. I'm probably further along than I expected to be.
Yeah.
I'm still not where I want to be.
That's
But
good.
just getting on the air. What my big frustration is right now is just QRN. I hear somebody's call just totally clear from Florida today.
Right.
Oh, there you are. And I get the guy's, he goes name, and AM there.
Right.
Then da, and then nothing. nothing for the next
Oh,
2
you mean
minutes.
QSB?
It just got
Yeah, the
wiped out
band
with
just falls
static.
apart, yeah.
Yeah, the
Just
bands
wiped
are
out
a
with static. I
little.
got us a call, send them a QSL card and said, look, I get to throw them out on every QSO and CW.
Yeah, Rob was saying on Tuesday that you didn't even hear me in the first part of the net.
I can hear there was something, I knew you
But-
were in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you
that-
hear everybody else at that
I
point?
heard Chris and a couple of other people, but Davis is just, it's a dead zone, man. It's
Yeah, well,
it's
I
just
noticed that you're very
it's just
weak.
that in-between area where everything goes right over the
That I
top.
heard.
Yeah,
I think Greenhaven
the
is
cone of
too.
silence, man.
Yeah, I noticed your
Yes,
signal is
the
always weak
SDR
at the
can-
beginning.
If you go to the Half Moon Bay SDR.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That can feed in the banks.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing how many people I can hear that don't show up on that KFS.
Oh, right.
But
Now, that's
that's
what
SDR.
you do, right? You go to the Half Moon Bay one, or you go to Washington?
Yeah, from the-
Half Moon
Half
Bay.
Moon Bay. Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, there's another
There's
SDR.
one in Utah.
Which one are
Or
you
Utah? Oh, okay. I
The one
thought it was
I
up in
can
Washington.
hear you on the one in Utah, on the 80
I
meters.
just leave it. hooked
Well, my
up in
antenna
case I
is
need it.
broadside east-west.
Yeah.
Nor,
Well,
it's like
it's just
11
right there.
degrees
Yeah.
off, but
That's because you're in a nuclear free zone.
yeah, that's true.
Except for the one stuff that travels along the freeway, we can't.
Right,
do.
it's the dialysis machine running at Davis University.
I'm
It is
ready to
typically-
go, but usually don't need it on the net.
Oh, okay.
But if somebody is weak, and sometimes that doesn't work, just kind of skip.
Well, this week I turned the amp on.
You did, and you,
Was it obvious?
I think you ought to run it, yeah, I think if you're gonna be net control, you should run it. That's what I think, especially in these conditions. That way you know that you're gonna be heard.
Yeah,
I
I figured
waited
the same
45 minutes and there you were. I mean, you were S7 or S8.
Yeah,
so I
you
figured,
usually
we either
pop
turn the
up.
amp on
You did
or-
pop up though.
Yeah,
But I always hear you, Rob. I don't care what the band's doing. You mean by Ed Zero, I'll still hear you.
yeah,
Yeah.
your antenna
Chris
is
and I usually do
also.
pretty good.
We
so.
talk all the time with
The problem is your antenna is facing more towards.
him, yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
Well,
so
Chris can tell you, there are times when I'm on the sloper and I can't even hear him.
right.
And I'll turn right over to
the vertical.
Oh, yeah.
and he's S9.
Yeah,
It's,
I
it's
have
ju-
that
It is
too.
amazing.
I have that where John will be like an S2, and then I'll
Right.
switch the vertical on and bam, he's
And
at
there
20
he is,
over.
right.
Yeah,
That's why I keep both of them.
right, same here.
Yeah.
It's amazing,
it's-
just a little distance like that.
Yeah,
makes a difference.
sometimes I
Ground
use
wave.
the vertical on
Yeah, when you
17.
do the vertical, Mike, yeah, you really smoke me then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I use the
that's what
vertical on
that's typical,
17
yeah.
because it's got a low fire angle
Correct.
and I get a lot of good DX off of the vertical
I wanted to ask you about those conversion kits
for 17 and
for that
the
antenna.
HF60.
Is that even worth the $75 for the conversion kit?
Well, it lets you tune 12 meters tunes right up. 17,
dicey.
it's a little dicey, yeah.
Okay.
And even the guy who invented the kit, he'll tell you himself that the capacity hat that goes on, because on each of those bands you get a coil for each, and then a capacity hat. And he tells you that it's very, very narrow, and he's not kidding. It's narrow. It's like 10 kc
Oh,
or
really?
something, maybe 20. It's
Yeah.
not very wide.
It's over $75 for 10.
Yeah, I tuned
No,
my
it's
40
not.
meter sloper for.
But you can probably, if you had real radials. I don't have real radials because I have nowhere
I
to
just
put
have
them.
it very ground wire all over.
That would probably be fine, much
That would
better
probably
than
help
mine.
it, yeah.
I have impedance issues based on, if I move the
That's why you
coil.
got the coil. I
Yeah,
don't have the coil on mine.
If
don't
I
need
move
it.
the loading coil, I
Yeah.
can get it to tune over the whole band. But if I don't move the loading coil, or if I move it so that it's good on 80, then
It doesn't work on.
it narrows 17.
Right.
So it's because I have almost no radial at all.
Oh,
And that's just based on,
Have you tried elevated radios?
yeah, and you know what, that works for me the best, elevated. But my elevated radials are so wrong, it's not even funny, because I had to put them.
Have you got an antenna analyzer?
I'm gonna get
Yeah, well, you don't know
that
Well, you do
Rig
pretty well.
Expert just came out with that new stick analyzer.
I heard
and I'm thinking of
FFJ's
getting
better
that.
than that.
Did you? Okay, well, I'll look
You
at
know, if
it.
you take two elevated radios
Yes, I know.
and tune them just like a dipole,
Yes,
yeah.
I think you'll find it's the sweet spot.
I agree with you. The problem is I have nowhere to put those radios.
That's your
So,
problem, yeah.
yeah, it's very difficult at my location for radials. So I have a,
That's
You
why
can
my,
move your vertical up to the fence, tunnel under the walkway,
yes,
run the coax over to there.
I agree.
Don't the neighbors
I'd
have
love
yards?
to do
The
that.
fence.
I'd love to do that.
sneak into your neighbor's yard and
Well, there's nobody in the neighbor's yard.
You
so-
know, where
There
the
you go.
swimming pool is, you could put the radials in the pool, you know, that's a highly.
Well, we have a
contested-
beach entry, we have a beach entry on our pool. Maybe I can just mount it at like a, what do you call it, those tether ball or?
Well, you know, swimming pools have a huge ground.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and it's accessible. There's
Yeah.
no round reference box there.
Yeah, so I might consider doing that.
you can do what the guy in
Put it right in the
Netherlands
shallow.
did.
Anything's
He
gotta help.
couldn't put up an antenna on his house, so he bought a
Yeah,
catamaran and he put it across the street
Oh,
on,
there
on
you
the
go.
private dock that he owned, and then ran a coax out, and all there is a catamaran with
Right.
a big vertical.
sure.
slap up
I
on
was
his
thinking
thing.
of doing a wireless antenna, but,
Very clever.
Yeah, well, he got sued and the city said, there's no law against it. And
sure.
so-
As long as he moves it every 72 hours.
Well, they said, no,
It's
because
dock.
it's his dock.
Oh, it's a dock. I thought you
It's his
said you
dock,
had it
and-
parked across
and
the
this thing
street.
just, you know, he snaked it through the
Got it.
telephone line thing and ran it out there, and he works DX with this huge vertical.
Yeah,
on his
hey, it
cat.
works. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Saltwater amplifier.
Yep, it works
Yeah.
just fine.
Have you seen that antenna where it shoots salt water up through a tube and then it
Yeah,
radiates
you can
off
have
That
the
was
salt?
in the
right?
April edition of QS.
No, it's real.
No, they make
It's
it.
real.
You know, I'm thinking about using a tree.
It's actually real. That was, I think, one of the universities was working on that.
What,
And it works fine. The Navy is already using it. It's like a tube,
Well,
like a
you know, the
plastic
Navy for
tube.
years
Yeah, I thought
used
about
those
that idea.
30-foot verticals.
Yeah,
And those $200,000 antenna tuners. that
yeah,
were
right.
big.
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah. How about you?
W6AAQ invented the screwdriver antennas, and they took down those 30-foot verticals and they put up screwdriver
Essentially,
antennas,
all it is
and
a
they were-
vertical.
They were a lot better antennas.
It's just conductive
They were
water
not
that
bad.
they're streaming up at the
Yeah.
right height and they're
Yeah.
loading it up. It's nothing,
Yeah.
it's no miracle antenna.
But if you look at all those old
Works.
ships, they all had they had like 10 30-foot
Yeah.
verticals in different sections of the ship.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
But you got nice
They
ground.
pour it over.
Well, if you shoot some fish out of the salt water,
Right.
it's better for catching DX.
And tuna
yeah, you can tune a fish.
Just make it tuna
That's right. That's how you tune a fish.
How you tune?
All right.
Yeah.
So
Sandwiches.
we had the bug roundup. Let's talk about the bug roundup for a minute. That was the third week of November.
Yeah.
But the comments page is 2 years old.
The comments page are 2 years old because I have not gotten any emails with
Okay.
pictures or anything like that. People
Okay.
don't. I have a few people who turn their logs in, and that's great because it's
Okay,
nice
but
to
there's
see.
been no information.
But there's been no pictures
I have no
or
pictures.
emails saying, you know, I had a great time, blah, blah, blah. So what you see on that information page is
The last information.
the last information that we have, believe it or not. And I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
let's see here. I'll go to Bug Roundup and,
My name is John.
you know, but for those people who are new to the Bug Roundup event,
It's quite popular.
it's, you know, here's the page. It's basically comments from people who,
Is that Mark's station down below? That-
yeah, I think that's Mark's station,
Yeah.
JJR.
Yeah.
And his call sign will be on here somewhere. But, you know, these are the people who sent in things that I could post, and
That was
these
quite a
are,
while ago.
yeah, and these are their comments. Yeah, this was probably 2 years ago. But I'm willing to put new stuff up if I get new stuff.
All right.
So don't hesitate to send your info. It doesn't take much to change the pictures and the comments. You know, I don't know, I don't have any logging on this page, I don't think, for there's no logging on that
Right.
page, so I don't even know who's actually,
How many people visiting.
Yeah, who are visiting that. But those who are new to the website or to the Bug Roundup, they might check it out. And you're only going to look at it one time, probably. My guess,
I
anyway.
never looked at it.
You've never gone there? Never listened to the comments?
All you have to do is go in and change the dates on what you got there, and it'll look current.
There's no dates.
There's no
That's, I purposely didn't date it for that very reason.
It doesn't matter.
Well, put current dates on there just to add a little flair.
I could do that. Maybe they said the same thing twice.
Yeah, there you
You can do
Sure, all right, I'll do that. I'll just
All
put
right.
new dates on there and we'll just pretend like these are brand new comments. Let's see, what else? Okay, so
So,
that's what I'm missing. I wonder, oh, here it is. Yes, indeed. So, as we do with every event, we always send out an email asking who wants to sign up to be a W6SFM station, because that's one of the great things about the Bug Roundup is you get, as a member, you get to be a W6SFM station during the event and operate as a club call. Lots of people like to work the club. You know, I actually did get a few emails from people saying, I haven't been able to hear the club yet, where are they? And of course, being that we have members that signed up, I can actually tell them, go look at the spotting page, which is
right.
here.
Let's see, how many do we
You
have?
go to the spotting page right there, and then this is the chat window, so anybody who wants to, yeah, if you want to,
Everyone's chatting.
no, nobody's chatting now, it's only during the event.
Right, right.
But one of the things is, I used to have it where you had to make up a username in order to get on the chat.
Right.
But I've turned that off during the event so that anybody who's anonymous wants to spot can spot, and they don't have to worry about having their call sign up there.
I think some of the problem I have with that is the Linux machine that I'm using right
Oh, well, that's okay. You can,
now. It's supposed to be okay, but I think
you can
there's
use your
still
phone too.
There's some, I'm just gonna have to figure something different.
Yeah, when you click on that window in your phone, it goes to full screen, so that the whole screen is
The whole
chat.
screen comes up.
So I can use my phone to input, just read on my computer what's going on,
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
But everybody who is a W6SFM station is asked to go to the chat window and spot themselves, because we want people who are coming to the chat window to be able to know where W6SFM is. Am I gonna have to split you guys up?
Yeah.
All right. So this year I made a really nice layout for the operation schedule for those who signed up to be W6SFM. Not as many people as last year, but we filled up the slots pretty good.
Yeah,
And this year I actually made it so that people could read it. Last year it was just so confusing because the hours overlap between UTC and Pacific time, so
Right.
it's hard to keep them. So what I did this time was based on UTC time with a note of the Pacific time, and then made it Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, that works.
So this was a whole lot easier for
Right.
people to read. Unfortunately, I did not send Rick N6IET this because he was the first person to sign up.
Oh.
And I assigned his slot, but I hadn't assigned everybody else's yet. And I sent him a preliminary copy, but not the final copy, because he had already signed up, so he knew when he was going to operate. And what ended up happening was John took a slot before him, and
Oh, yeah.
Rick came on thinking,
Early.
he came on early thinking there was nobody working the slot because there was nothing in his sheet, but all he got was like 2 or 3 people signed up by that
Right,
time.
right.
So I need to make sure that next time
Everybody,
I put the final to everybody who's going to do
Right.
it. But I wanted to make sure we had confusion last time with Rick because he didn't get a copy, or he got a copy and he had signed up for a time and wasn't on there or something like that, so he ended up saying he didn't operate for 2 hours that he was supposed to operate. So this time I advanced him the schedule so to make sure he saw his name was on there for that time. But it was okay. He only came in a little bit early, and John was still there, and they happened to work on 2 different bands, so it worked out okay. They weren't competing with each other.
No.
And the only reason I know that happened is because John had signed on to the spotting page like he was supposed to, spotted himself, and then about an hour and a half, 45 minutes later, I saw Rick sign on and spot himself as W6SFM. So it was not a big deal, and it was my fault because I didn't send Rick the final spreadsheet. But in any case, through the event, we had Rick, myself, Chris, John, Steve, K7SF up in Oregon, Tom, W0UFC down in Los Angeles, he's in Thousand Oaks, and that was it. So we had, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Not bad.
No, we had 7 or 8 last year.
And then everybody takes a 2-hour time slot, and you can have as many as you want. And I'll pass this around, and you'll see that from 0 UTC to 7 UTC on Friday night, we were completely filled. And then most of our Saturday, which is also UTC Saturday, we had most of that filled. And then again, Sunday, we were very well filled. I think I actually forgot to add my name in here for a few slots because I kind of fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I screwed up too one place, forgot to change it.
Yeah. So when there's nobody working, I usually get on the air as W6SFM. So I probably have some slots that I didn't put in, but you'll see the format and you'll notice how it works where the days are broken up and the hours are on there, and you'll see how convenient it is. So I did receive logs back from everybody who operated, and looking at this, John did did pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like about 9 contacts. Looks like the farthest he got was Alabama.
Well, I bet we're on 20, huh?
Alabama was on good question. Transmit, receive. Oh no, those are RSTs. I don't know. Where is it? I'm too blind to know. I might have, 40 meters, 7043.
Oh, okay, 40. Wow.
Yeah, so I'll pass these around if you want to see who we made contacts with. They are ADIF files, so they're just printed out and then compressed a little. And then looks like...
John had 9, you say 9?
Yeah, I believe he had about 9. And then, let's see, who is this? Trying to figure out whose list this is. So here's another list, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has got to be Chris. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I was on 30 or 20. I don't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3.
Wow, more
4,
than
5,
that
6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 50, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about almost 60 contacts alone for Chris.
You sure that's not counting May?
Nope, it's
Wow.
not.
I lost track.
Yeah, so that's a thick one.
Oh, he cheats, he uses DB spray.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. He's got that DB stray.
BB spray.
I know because
You guys were over
we
there.
sprayed it on his antenna.
No, we forgot, we told him.
No, I had his brother go back up there and spray it. All right, so looking at this log here, here's Rick's log, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, Rick brought us to the net. He brought us to the bob net.
Bob net.
Weather net.
Chris,
Yep.
pass that over.
And he did say that I believe one or two of them were using the bug, so they counted. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we had 9 on here. So thank you, Rick, for doing your part in the event. We really appreciate your hard work. Let's see. Here's Tom's log. Oh, by the way, if you don't have a logging program and you're still hand logging, that's fine. If you're sending something into the club and it's hand logged, I'm okay with that. Because we're not really doing anything but reviewing them and then putting them in the archive. So
No big deal.
Tom was a last minute sign up, and he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it looks like his farthest was probably Arizona and Oregon. Not bad. Although, who's AC5D?
That's a guy in, I worked him.
That's Mike. Do you know where
Right.
he is?
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay, so there you go. So we got a little bit of distance in there.
I talked to
And
Mike.
for some reason, mine is the only missing log.
Mike
But
come along yet?
yeah, so the club
Well, I
clearly.
have a list of calls and the bugs they were using that I could probably send to you.
Sure. Yeah, we collect
I've
those
got
too.
one from this year and last year. This year, I think I made like 15 contacts.
Okay. Yeah, we collect everybody's log, whether they're doing it or not. I did have reports of. Well, that's what's not here. Let me go look at that. I did have reports of England and Italy and Greenland working the event as well.
Great.
Yeah, I believe it was Greenland. I'll double check here. I'm gonna go to the sign up.
Well, I talked to Benny, he told me he didn't hear any Europe at all.
You heard no
None.
Europe?
Yeah.
That's a shame. All right, so okay, so I'm going to put this up on the screen for you to see. What this is the spreadsheet for the Bug Roundup event. When you register your station on the website, this is the information that we collect. It's the when you do it, your first name and last name optionally, your call sign, the country you're operating. If you're not in the U.S., which country, which state or province, which city, what kind of bug you're going to use in the event. Have you ever been in the event before? And any comments they want to make. A lot of people put in, glad you're doing this, that sort of thing. Let's see here, let me just read a comment. Hope everyone is tolerant of my fist. Been 25 years since I used the bug. And then the email address. If you're a member of SFM ARC, you have the option to select it and then sign up for which day and hour you want to operate in the event. So this here, each color represents a different bug roundup event. So you can see in the first time we did it, we had 63 people that signed up for that event. And then the next event is here, and we had 115 people sign up for the event. And then the third event in that we started the registration, looks like we had probably another 75 or so. And then the next one here, looks like we had just under 100. And then the next one, we had about 81. And then I believe this event here. Our first sign up for this event was on 5/27, which was just after the May event. So what happens is people hear about it on the air, and then they come sign up right after the event. because they want to be reminded for the next one.
Well, I got a recruiter to before the bug roundup this year. Check it out. They got on the air, so.
So,
Good.
looks like you see here, these two people signed up for the event well after. This person here signed up 2 days ago.
All
So-
right. We'll see them in May, right?
So, again, we're looking at about another 80 people who signed up in the last event. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to re-sign up because this is really meant to email people a reminder. So what I do is I take this list and I edit out all the duplicates. So there are some signups that are missing because some people do sign up twice, especially our members. Because as a member, if you're going to work as W6SFM, I want you to re-sign up because I need you to put the information of when you want to operate as W6SFM.
You got to do the whole form though, right? Can you keep all the stuff?
You
that
can,
somebody-
I think you have to put your email address
Well,
in,
you know that.
and then
I'm talking
your
on
call. But yeah, you could skip everything and go straight to the yes, I'm a member.
Okay, I can already, throw it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you don't need to put all the other information in, but I do need your email and your call so that I know who you are. But, so with all the duplicates out, we have 445 people that have registered for the bug roundup, and that's only the last 4 or 5 events. So that comprises about 2 years worth of bug roundup.
Yeah.
So 445, and that's just people who are registered, not people who operated, because clearly we have far more than that operating. A lot of people just don't because Rob discouraged everybody to sign up. So
No, I didn't discourage
Yeah,
you
you
from
did.
signing up.
no, you sure
Yeah.
did. You get on the air and you tell everybody, don't sign up.
No,
On
I
sideband, no less.
No, I did have 2 people ask me how come it wasn't in QST, so.
Yeah, you know what?
I know it's in the
we-
section, dude,
yes.
but yeah, it's.
I plan to talk to them about what we have to do to get it in the magazine.
Yes.
And on the mail or the email.
I've had
everybody.
problems with them in the past for
Yes.
stuff that they.
But I signed up. I'm signed up for the next 3, so I don't know what they're doing. Okay, so here we had in this last batch of people who signed up for this last event we just had, we had Brazil, Australia, Canada, UK, another Canada, Asian, Russia, Italy, England, another Australia, Greece, and Japan. So, and I know that we had participation from Belgium and England, Indonesia, and India, because I heard 3 of them in a bug
Japanese
roundup.
guy.
Yeah, I heard 3 of them, or I didn't hear them. They emailed me telling me that they worked. One guy from Asia worked another guy in Asia, so it was like Indonesia to Japan, I think is what it was. And I got Italy to England. I got a confirmation of that. So the bug roundup, even though we couldn't hear any of these people, they were still having their QSOs in Europe and Asia.
It's just the band conditions are just.
Yeah, they're bad for us, but at the same time, getting from England to Italy is not a problem.
No. Well, it's nothing
So,
there.
yeah, so we're not having an issue with people getting on the bug roundup.
Well, just like in this country, you can hear, if you listen on a remote, another receiver, you can hear all kinds of folks back east on 40.
Right.
You don't hear them out here, but
Yeah, I have to admit,
They're
I
out there.
would like it if we got more reports from people telling us that they were on the air, because, thank you, Orange, because if I don't get your email, I don't know, like I said, there could have been 100 people in New York talking to Pennsylvania, and we don't know about it.
right.
I will say this, the chat window had the least amount of
I didn't see
people.
hardly anything going on.
Yeah, we had the least amount of people out of every event we've ever had. There were like probably 25 or 30 maximum people
Sure.
that even went to the chat window this year. Last event, there were probably 200.
I use a Chrome or the Mac,
Uh-huh.
and the chat window would not appear there. When I switch
You
to-
probably have a Java filter on, or actually Mac doesn't run Java, right? Is that what it is?
I think they run their own.
Yeah, I think Mac doesn't have, it's
Safari?
either Java or, I don't know what the other
I
one
thought
is.
Java ran on everything.
Yeah, that was all.
Yeah, it may not be Java. Do you know what it is, Dale?
Linux uses something that kind of approximates.
Because I have the iPhone and it shows up on my iPhone.
Sometimes it doesn't
So,
work either.
but there's one of the like a Java script that Mac blocks. They don't allow it on the phone. I can't remember what it is. My brain is starting to shut down now. So, in any case, Bug Roundup was pretty good. We had a lot of people operating. We had, as you saw, almost 100 people, 100 new people sign up.
Is it consistent?
So, next May will be our next Bug Roundup. If you're interested in being W6SFM, I wish you would sign up. You don't have to be great on the bug. You just have to be able to send.
Well, and we have loaner bugs you can learn on, so you don't
That's
have
the
to
other
spend
thing.
a whole bunch of money on one.
Yeah.
You can play around with one and see if you
Right.
like it, so.
Between Rob and I, we have at least, 2 or 3 bugs that we can
I can probably limit you
hand
too.
out.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I would just like to take Chris's bug away. And we could give that to somebody and get him back on the straight key, for goodness sake.
Get me off the air.
Yeah,
Which one?
I don't know, I just spent a lot of time setting that antenna up with John. I think I'll keep you on the air, but we'll take your bugs away. You can go back on the keyer. How about that?
I don't think it's got a key here. Oh, yeah, you got
Yeah,
a
he's got
keyer,
one. He's
but-
got like a Brown Brothers or something.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we'll put you back on the keyer and give your bugs away. They do it for the children. Anyway.
That's right, that's right. They'll bring it to you.
Right. Bring it to me. I'll give it to my kids. That's right. All right. Well, let's take a break. It looks like there's a few things here. I know Art wants to show us something, and Phil had a hand in that. So, glad that Phil brought his walkie-talkie with him, because you don't know
Is
when
that,
the CB bands
is that
might.
Channel 13? It is.
I think it's Breaker Channel 19 or whatever it is. So, for our person watching online, thank you. We'll just take a quick break, maybe 10 minutes or so,
And so how
and
much
we'll
are
be
you
back.
charging
So
for
enjoy
your
the
HD
noise in the meantime.
converters?
$5.
Can I take a, can I pay off one by one?
Dollar down, dollar leave. Well, I don't want to get these are
You know what I wanna do is I wanna start retransmitting, once a week, the Aries group.
That audio you
gave
said was
us
okay, huh?
Transmit
'Cause I can't hear it.
practice,
I can hear it.
test message.
Earphones.
It was
using
good?
the,
Okay, good.
ICS 213.
I never listened, so I just make
Message
sure the
format,
meter is moving
be
and assuming that
broadcasted
you can push the little
on
button right
FM.
here and it
Well,
mutes it too.
on Mondays.
So
at
if we
8
really needed to
PM
mute, we could mute.
on
Checking the
the
VU
bar
meter, it's
computer.
going up at
Yeah,
0.
I-
Good.
And
It-
what
I
I
can
wanna
see
do
it
is
here.
I wanna retransmit that message,
There it is.
but I wanna retransmit it in code, like on
It's
Wednesdays.
in stereo.
Yeah.
So what are they using?
It's just
No,
It's
what,
around sound.
is it
Could be.
PSK or what are they saying?
No, they're just
We
using
could
regular
transmit
voice.
a 5
Well, I
line
mean,
if you
they're
want
just
it.
reading the message.
Right,
just-
and then people are copying it
Okay.
down and, just to keep people in practice.
Does anybody else want to pay dues?
The formats,
Dues
you
will
look at the formats.
be collected
Right,
this
right.
month.
But if I wanna retransmit it as a practice message on Wednesdays.
Chris, you want a
Thursday or
cookie,
whatever,
lemonade or
different
water?
day.
Oh, lemonade
So
sounds
people,
good.
if I can send it at
Different.
5 words a minute.
Lemonade sugar-free, so help
Oh, that's
Message
good.
or
Yeah.
online,
Worried about sugar.
you can download a message.
Sugar
and send it.
problem, but hey,
We'll see you get checked.
better yet.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I put your labels on the bottom there so that it wouldn't get borrowed by other people permanently. Works very well. They do.
12 o'clock lemonade.
What is this?
Thank
We
you
got-
very
Oh,
much.
Let's Phil's demo.
This is what,
We're gonna do,
I've been bothering Phil for the last.
So that's for
month.
2 meters?
cool.
This is for 2 meters.
2 meter?
This is if you want to send CW over FM on a 2-meter band.
Modulated CW, yeah.
Right. And the whole idea is that, I don't know how valid it is, but I have a feeling for a lot of the newbies in this hobby,
Right.
learning CW is a big challenge, but also making the leap into HF is also a really, really big challenge. I mean, look around at a typical radio club meeting. You know, it seems like there's at least a half a dozen amateur extras that don't even have a rig, you know? And, you know, never got on it. I think that if you had something like this, and you could, there's no substitute to an on-air CW.
I think he made his own, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, even if it's on 2 meters, this is though. It's yeah, we have a key. You have $5. You know, Phil and I, especially Phil,
Got my license.
can put it together.
Yeah, 6 months later, I was
You
in
know,
the
and that was the idea.
6 months later, it was.
I just tried it on a repeater. It doesn't really work.
Because he's not buying
Because it
hundreds and
doesn't really
hundreds of feet
feed
at a
it.
time.
Oh my God.
The repeater
Because
doesn't
he's
really
not buying
respond
hundreds
fast
of
enough
feet
to
of
the
user
other
times.
commentators.
You know?
Money or saving it just
I just tried
Why using on
Add
off
on to that,
Second.
you know.
Using on off keying
Well,
the carrier?
No, here's that.
You gotta use the carrier, you gotta leave the carrier on, you can't turn the carrier on.
No, you leave it on like that, but even so, if you hit that like dot,
Of course, I can't do that with Chris because
it doesn't, well, I just tried it, you can experience it, it's like it's on,
Well, there's,
like
there's,
it's on
there's,
demo
there's
or something.
delay
It's
or
really
something.
slow.
We've got one of those things sitting around
Yeah,
somewhere.
no, these things are like tanks, and they'll
I
never.
know, I've got one,
So,
but
hey,
I don't know where it is.
Cooking is good, Carol.
Phil, are you on 147.42?
I'm on.
Are you on 147.42? I wanted to show this to Carol.
You had me get off at 147.42.
147.42.
How do you know the repeater room doesn't have a
Oh,
filter that cancels out
this is not this is not a repeater.
Oh, you're on simplex,
We're on
okay.
simplex. Okay, you on it, Phil?
Yeah.
Okay, so turn this on. There you go.
First thing you see,
Perfect.
you thought it was variant.
Variant, yeah.
No, that was my grandfather. And so, but I sent him a fuel cell card. He sent me his back end was what my grandfather sent me at 65.
Perfect, I don't see what the problem is there.
No, the only problem there, okay, now,
It's not
let's
too
go to
long.
525.
Well, this is way too complicated.
So then you have to turn it off. Your transit. So let's go, one.
Too many
Okay,
questions.
so you're on 525 repeater?
Yep.
Okay, first of all, let me identify myself. KD6 GBY. Did you hear me? Okay,
That's
so
there.
I put this on.
Just pick a different
Let's
email
wait
and
for it to
replace.
clear.
Sounds good.
I turn off.
Somehow she's in there.
Okay, so turn this on. There you go. So here.
Yeah, so that's the email address that I'll send the newsletter to.
Okay.
Are you?
I didn't hear you. I didn't
You
hear
just
you.
sent it.
I tried to, but
Email
that's why I
address doesn't
call
go to
it.
anybody else. You also will get a W6SFM.
But I didn't hear you.
You're desensing it.
I think you're too close.
Signal on, yeah. On the input
nice.
could be desensing.
You'll get
the
an email
signal.
about that.
Okay.
That can happen, and you won't hear the repeater.
It's possible.
Oh, I do, I
But
did
we,
hit the repeater.
it was, we did it earlier.
Yeah, 525, right?
Around 525.
Okay, with a negative offset, right? Well, not
you.
usually.
Receipts, that doesn't matter.
Okay, so let's try her again. Let me identify the hand first. KD6
I
GBY.
appreciate
Oh,
your
yeah,
contact
Did you get that?
information.
Very well.
Did you get that? Okay. So, let's wait for it to clear. Wait, see, that's the thing, there's a delay there. Okay, so let's turn on.
What are you gonna do for
I'm
the
not
next?
hearing it.
I can hang out with it. I'm excited.
Are you? Gonna close the
Good
office
for
down.
you.
Or is there other-
Serious?
We tell them to practice.
KD6
But they
GBY.
wanna keep your name.
No,
Tell them they have to get a new medical license in your name.
no.
Let's try simplex again. Let's go 147, 42. You're 147, 42.
47.
42, simplex.
I use
Right,
it
And then, yeah, okay.
with the amplifier, it works the same as a K3 front.
I think that sounds good, man.
I'm gonna wait for a year or two and have them get the bugs out of it.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I don't want
My KX3 I bought, you know, I'm number 103.
KX3.
With a KX3.
Now, I had one of your,
425.
And it.
I'll have to say, you know, I haven't used my roof mount on my, I haven't had a car with set up for 2 meters since about 1998.
That was not.
So, but I still have my Comet. No, I had my Diamond
Matter of fact, I think they
dual
made
band,
a
which is a
software
pretty good
package
antenna.
for
I'll
it.
set that on top of my house and maybe I
And
can.
all you had to do was install the software and turn on the feature, and it
Got rid of it.
got rid of the noise. Yeah. But I know what
Yeah,
you're saying.
depending on where you
I
are,
agree.
sometimes you
I
get
let
pretty
other
good
people
simplex
find problems, and then, especially the
10,
hardware
15 miles or something
Yeah.
like that. That'd be
So retired and modified.
Yeah, maybe I could get Davis, for instance.
I'm ready to
You
go.
have a handheld, right? You have a 2 meter handheld.
I don't think simplex.
Yeah, I have
I want my
a 2 meter antenna on top of my roof, so, you know,
Okay.
radio.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know
I'm
on
saying you
FM
can't.
simplex under about 10 watts, I can almost
I have-
get
I
above
didn't put-
Reading.
Oh, really?
Money
On
down.
the day I can get all
Yeah, you did it.
And
So
I'll be
my K3 still works.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
So
so,
What gets me is you get the
I was getting all the way down to
and
almost
unless you buy
The-
the
the second-
yeah, the HD version,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna get the same front end that you have already.
well, then you might as well buy a, you know,
one
right
of
on
the
7300
smaller
or
diamonds.
something.
That's what it
It's
feels
23
like, but
feet
we haven't been sure
base,
with
you know.
No.
Sherwood stuff comes out, then
Back
maybe
east.
we'll see that.
It was
It's
terrible up
just
to
blows
here
away
because
the
you
same.
go around the curve and you lost
I bet.
everything.
Yeah, I know, for $6,000 they better
Yeah.
do something.
It's better. So, we'll see. So get yourself paid for it, don't work your cake. The KX3 though, I have to be honest, KX3 is nowhere near the K3. So, if you could, or if you wanted, you could get a K3, because people are gonna.
They're dumping it, yeah.
Rob.
But if you want the second receiver or anything, and you don't have them, they're only gonna sell the ones they've made.
That's right.
And, you know, if you want it later, you're toast.
That's right. But you know what, I have to say, receiver.
I don't
You know, where you are.
I
Yeah, I'm
never-
where you are.
The only time you turn it on is when you have.
Yeah,
that's
I've done it a few times.
Well, if you're
Oh.
doing,
That'll
I
be-
don't single
What's that
or you're
one?
doing radio or doing whatever.
Why would you do
I
that?
should be able to talk to you on.
I use it
on
like,
40 meters just about every
when-
day. But you
Okay,
know
here's
what,
what
I
I use
can't
it.
hear
If I'm
that
talking to
10
somebody and they
meters
see a big
range.
signal down the area,
Yeah.
I roll over the side, I go over there, turn on the sub, and if one speaker I hear,
I can do
yeah,
something
very
very
thin,
thin.
and then I see who's down there while I'm
And if
talking.
it's someone you wanted to work, you're like,
Right, exactly. Like if I see a DX pileup going on down
Or
there,
else for a-
then I'm like, oh, okay.
Is
So
that-
now I
yeah.
have to go see what it is, but I'm still talking to them. So that's one time I use it. The other time I use it is like if I'm on 10 and I just want to see what's going
It's
on.
not a bad one, maybe not here back east.
Right, but the good thing about K4 is you can actually put 2 hand adapters in.
Can I?
That would be
that'll
kind
be interesting to put a second cheapo PC monitor up
of,
too.
yeah.
I actually got that
My,
call.
There's some advantages, but I don't want to give up what I
There are
have
times to
for
charge
something that doesn't work
at
any
2
better than
horrible
that.
calls
Yeah.
for CW.
But the KX3 is a nice radio, it is not a K3. It's-
Okay, okay.
So you really need to get a K3. You're retiring, it's a gift.
And
Where's your
big
fixed income?
Yeah, yeah.
530
Save so many children.
Sure.
That your
757.
patients will buy it for you.
Ah,
Send them an email, tell them you're retiring, and you're collecting retirement gifts.
Okay, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm actually using
Right, so what I'll do
Flex
is I'll
3000.
play around, I'll dig up my common antennas and
That's not what you want.
You want my email?
That's the 101.
N6
That's why I used
KIX
to drive my
at
amplifier
Yeah,
to
that's
spot
fun.
the clock.
Yeah.
Okay, it's right there, yeah, it's right, God,
Yeah, you already have, I
How's
think
the
they gave
delay?
it before.
I think you're right.
It's not bad.
I used to get on it early.
They turned off
all the time.
completely
There's
the,
just-
waterfall and stuff.
Well, yeah, I know, that was the thing
But that's
about
the thing
getting,
that slows it down so
you know,
much.
cheap cell phones, once they became cheap,
Right.
people just didn't bother with, 2 meters anymore.
Well, it's like when Chris and I first got into amateur radio,
10 meters.
Saturday and Sundays,
Checking into the.
there was
Your-
barely
Yeah, because
in the novice bands. On all, I mean, on all the way around it,
Yeah.
barely.
Oh,
And now, they're dead in the world.
that's your
And
horizontal.
I sit there and I count the stars on the reverse
Okay,
beat
but
the
we're
network.
using
And my
horizontal.
signals,
Yeah, I
I'm
use my
18,
horizontal.
20 dB signals reports from up
Yeah,
north.
that's
and
what I was
there's
hearing.
nobody
Yeah.
on, which means the entire Pacific Northwest, there's nobody to or real-time report.
But that doesn't
And
mean.
you light up the lights with your.
I haven't tried that yet, just go pull the plug and see if the LEDs are
I
on.
think my receiving's a lot better than my transmit, but you know what?
LEDs make a
All
lot of
my
our.
antennas.
This one, it doesn't seem to bother it.
Because of antenna radiuses, and it really affects
So you probably
both
won't hear
receiving
it.
and sending.
It's
Both
probably
reasons,
the
but, you know,
right.
like,
You know, I put together the pair of big verticals.
You know,
Right.
Saturday
And I had
is the URL leadership.
signal to
meeting.
them, or, yeah, signal to noise.
And we're representative from the
Up
club
in
as
Utah,
well.
and up in Canada.
So,
And I only really tested.
yes, this Saturday.
Well, in the mid,
John?
Yeah, yeah.
well, in the mid
Yeah, you can
twenties.
delegate anyone.
I have
Yeah.
Clubs
But I got
can
so
set
much
up
time.
their-
I'll
my original
ask you to announce that.
What band do you
Met some backdoor neighbors.
Where's
Planted 25 redwood trees in their
That's over here,
backyard,
that's Moss Pass.
all around the perimeter.
Yeah, so.
I hope they
So,
got,
yeah, over the other,
Yes.
it's only 15 feet deeper than mine, but the problem is, most of those trees, he's had to cut off, so he's got, second off, he's got stumps in his backyard, because they can't get anything in there to run the stumps out, because it died off, or they were too close to the house.
So you can't even have tall trees?
Like,
Oh, well, we can't.
Parity Act, they
You know,
changed the
but
name.
the problem is, if you haven't
It's
got
called
the
a
proper
rep
data,
market.
What
What
about the
radio,
cedars?
emergency
What about the
preparedness.
What about the cedars?
A lot of, yeah,
Right,
a lot
and
of,
you know, that's why the
same,
problem is, most people die, because they talk about so much water. And, you know, the thing is, you gotta have
Go
so
talk,
much water.
go talk to McClintock.
Well, where I live,
they're saying right now that there's probably a
Well, what I
lot
wanna
of
do, there's one
possibility
in my
that's going
backyard
through
that's
because
really,
it's got
I
an
would
emergency.
just love to take
Name it.
like a 60-foot piece of wire and put,
How tall is it?
Yeah,
it's probably like.
that's what they're gonna talk about, that,
So-
what areas, they're gonna talk about
Well, I
the,
usually use low band, 84.
volunteer monitor program, that's replacing the
And
OOs.
tie the weight on a
And other
string.
topics
Do a lot
that-
of way
Are we
up
good?
here,
You want more?
Pull that thing
Oh.
down.
Then you get
and
freight
actually-
forward.
You want a water chaser?
Oh, I'm fine.
You know, I went with you about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, we only have half an hour, so let's
Roll.
just finish up. Looks like, that's interesting. I didn't receive an
Main
email.
thing is you have to learn how to turn the.
Did you hit the
remember to turn
submit button at the
sticker
bottom?
off.
Yeah, I got an
So
email.
what?
You did? Okay.
Okay.
That's
Getting
good.
either like a
Oh, here it
spring
goes.
thing,
Yep.
so you're not
I got it.
touching it, you're transmitting.
So James has now officially got his paperwork in,
Well, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
first
yeah.
the- first the talk.
10 watts.
so that's good.
That fellow, that's
Get
really
rid of the
good.
white, you know, once go around and once it's red.
Well, people I've
I've
talked
got
to before, and I've heard them too, you got.
Put a
That's the
second
reason I'm
plug
doing
on
this
there, so you
kind
put a foot switch
But
on.
there had to be some kind of outlet, because of what, because of what he was saying.
Well, you know,
That is kind of cool.
I think it's,
Right on the border.
I think under the right application, it'd be really, really good. you know.
Does anybody have any announcements, club related? Anybody have any information about something going on that we should know about?
I do have some information.
Carol, please.
Sure. First of all, I also, what we were talking about is the Pacific Division of the ARRL has their annual division leadership meeting coming up this Saturday. And that's going to be at the Livermore City Council Chambers, starting at 9 a.m. and goes to about 2 p.m. And the division director is going to be over there. That's K6JAT, Jim Teamstra. The vice director also is going to be there. That's Kristen McIntyre, K6WX, and various different section managers from around the division are going to be there. And every affiliated club has a right to send up to 2 representatives as well. And they serve you breakfast and lunch. They're going to be talking about matters that have to do with the new volunteer monitor program, which is replacing the official observer program. They're going to be talking about the new initiative to go ahead again with the Amateur Radio Parity Act, and they're changing the name now to the Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act, which seems to be more promising since they're mentioning the part of it about emergency, and they're seem to be getting perhaps a little bit more support from the ground with some of the other emergency agencies and government agencies as well. So there's probably a better chance of that going through the Congress.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've tried it so many years the other way, always to reach to get a brick wall at the end by one senator that blocks it, or through some kind of manipulation. So we're not giving up on that at all, so that everyone can have a chance to have some kind of a reasonable antenna, and you can't just have from your HOA say that that's impossible.
Right.
The other thing, there's going to be update on ARIES and other topics of interest to amateur radio. So it tends to be interesting. You get a chance to air your concerns, bring back information directly to the club from the leadership of the ARL, and make your voices heard. So that's very, I think, important. And if you want to attend that, you need to RSVP by tomorrow, and that's to K6JAT at arrl.org. K6JAT, that's Paul Sina of our director.
Rob, you're so close to Livermore.
Pardon?
You're so close to Livermore.
Yeah.
Don't you want to go? Don't you want to go? You want to go? You want to go, Rob?
Not Livermore.
All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll be there, so whoever's there, I'll be seeing you as well.
Here we are.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, there was a call put out by Mike Abernathy, November Mike 3 Sierra NM3S, who works with SAC Sharp and puts on the technician and general class amateur radio licensing courses. These are not the one-day miracle, campground courses, but he actually puts these courses on every year. Usually the technician course over about 3 weeks in March, and then the general class course over about 4 weeks in April. And he desperately needs assistance with people to help with teaching the course, just people who feel that they could be familiar with the material and explain material in the technician and general class license manuals, and also he's looking for VEs to assist with the test nights that occur at the end of each class. He is, I guess, kind of up at peak looking right now for a venue for this place as well, because the venue that they've normally had is apparently not anymore available. So if you can help him in any one of those aspects.
Where is he?
He's NM3S at fastmail.com. He's down in the area of 65th Street, and
So he's downtown.
yeah, he's downtown, down by the
Can you get him to change his call? That might help if he changes his call to a 6.
down at the Sac Sheriff office down on 65th Street between
Okay.
Folsom Boulevard and what was the other, Florin. That's right around Florin Mall down
It's
there.
pretty far south.
Yeah, so that's,
No man's land.
For you.
he needs to
Not that
have
bad.
No.
something around there.
Carol,
you're familiar with that, how about the Elks Lodge at the end of Florham Road, at Riverside? You know what I'm talking about?
Riverside?
Okay, in Greenhaven, Florham Road has like two ends. One's at Sunrise, and the other end of it is at Riverside.
Okay.
Okay. Have you ever asked the Elks Lodge? I can do it for you because I'm just right there.
He needs to have a venue that there's no cost for. That's the problem.
I don't think they charge.
Yeah, they
The Elks
do.
Lodge
Elk
can
Lodge is,
easily charge. We use them for luncheon.
Yeah.
We buy the luncheons. That's why we get to use the facility. So
By
we've got 150 people. So.
but they do things like Boy Scouts and other things too. And so it's amateur radio as a voluntary public service for emergency, preparedness. It might not be that much of a stretch.
Now, there's also libraries.
Yeah,
Right?
there's a
Our
library.
DIY group is using libraries, and they are free.
If they don't close up early on you.
They close about 9 o'clock.
No, they're 9 o'clock.
I know the one here is 9.
It's 7.
That's
It's
Sylvan
7.
Library.
Well, no, the meeting hall you can go to about 9.
They
So
used
what,
to have-
There's a club I did a
Saturday
demo
mornings,
for, and it was
Say again?
Saturday mornings for the exam.
Well, they're normally doing their classes, they do 2 nights a week. They do the Tuesdays and the Thursdays because they get a total of like 6 classes that way in 3 weeks. They do Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. So they do 2 nights a week and they're doing it from about 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. is what they normally go with the classes.
You'd probably have a hard time getting
6
the
to 8.
libraries to buy into it.
That's early.
Trying to have them check with Rayleigh's.
Rayleigh's?
Yeah, they have meeting halls in
They
a
have
lot of the
community
Rayleigh's.
rooms.
Okay, we could,
I took an exam at the Rayleigh's down in Britain Bay.
So 6 to 8,
6 to 8.
2 days a week.
2 days a week, that way they actually have a chance for question and answers, they have practice exams. It's not the hand cramp thing, it's so that people get an actual chance
All
to
right.
master the material.
What does he actually need? I mean, you said assistance, but
He needs somebody to go over and present the material for each of the sections of the manual, the way they break it down 9 by 9. That's one thing, he needs those teachers. He needs VEs for the final day when they have the actual test.
that shouldn't be a problem. There's plenty of PE.
So that's the kind of thing those are the 2 main things he needs. in addition
Is somebody
to
going to be
everything.
teaching the class other than him?
He's looking for people to help teach. So he doesn't, because for him to give all of the classes, it's exhausting for one single person.
Right.
So he splits up the material with the other teachers.
Okay.
He normally has about 2 or 3 teachers.
Oh,
But Rick McCusker, who was with Sac Sharp, has moved out of town. He was one of the regular teachers.
I see.
And I guess
So-
he needs extra teachers.
Okay. Arrows, that sounds like it's right up your alley. I volunteer Arrows. You'll be there 3 days a week though, right? Wife will never miss you. You'll be home by 10:30.
So you need about a classroom this size?
Yeah, they sometimes have up to 20 students signed up in those things. And
Is he charging for the class at all?
Nope, there's no charge for the class. The only charge is, you need to have the manual,
Right.
and then the charge is for the PE session.
Sure. That
Which-
there's no avoiding that.
And that is the only regular yearly full-fledged licensing course that I know that's given here, that's offered for free.
Has he considered actually charging, and then he can pay for his space?
That's an option, I guess.
I mean, I think there are plenty enough people who would pay $20 for a course,
Mhm.
and that would easily pay for
Well,
something like the church even.
yeah, let's see.
You know, if you move
Yeah.
towards this direction, I could possibly see doing it.
Yeah, he won't come up here though because it's too far for him to travel.
It's too
Yeah.
far.
He's close to
And
where he
besides,
is.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
15 miles.
Too far to travel. Okay. Well, you let him know. It's too far for me to travel.
Okay, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, 6 through 8, and we're talking about when does
March?
March starts?
Yeah, it starts
March,
usually the
okay.
first week of March is the tech class, and then the general class starts the first week of April.
So it takes about Okay, so there's 3 weeks in each class, so you get 6 weeks altogether.
Well, I think there's 6 classes for the tech class, and then there's 7 for the general. There's an extra class for the general, extra day, because there's more material.
Sure.
So, okay, so let's just say between March and May.
March and
Tuesdays
April.
March and April.
That's the normal time.
Okay, and the exam for the test is going to be on that last Thursday at 6 o'clock
Yeah,
during like a regular class time.
yeah, there's no class schedule, it's just a day for exams.
Okay, I'll contact I'm gonna walk. I'll
That'd be
stop by
awesome.
that. You know, I can't promise anything, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not even a member. But see what happens.
You know where the Elk Grove Flooring Club has their meetings?
Yeah, they've
At
been
the
doing it
sheriff's
in the
office.
sheriff's office. I don't think he has the access to that anymore, that was the issue. He had the access to that when Rick McCusker was there and involved in it.
Sometimes it just takes asking. So I see a lot of DIY projects out on the table. I know that Art was
Art's
excited
got
about
one,
his,
sure.
yeah. So Art, why don't you take
Sure.
the floor and tell us about what you've got?
Okay, I was explaining to Phil and I was explaining to Carol and anybody who would listen that I thought it could be a viable idea because most people, if they have a ham radio at all, have a 2-meter handheld. And they're cheap and they get good local coverage, even though I'm having fits now hitting a repeater with this thing. I mean, I can hit the repeater, but I can't make it a signal that will sound for right now. I don't know whether it's, I'm sure there's something that I could do to make it work, which I'm not
You
aware
mean
of.
currently as we sit here?
Yeah, okay. But simplex would be cool. And simplex would be good if you had a friend that was like a couple miles away. My own feeling about it is that any over-the-air CW QSO is good. You know, and Mike, as a teacher, will tell you that you must be very frustrated to see people who have like amateur extras and are doing really, really well, and they don't even have any kind of a rig at all. We see that more and more in our hobby. And so I thought that if people could get on the air on 2 meters and FM and using their handheld easily and cheaply, it may inspire them to make the plunge to go to an actual rig.
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, most of us know somebody with a rig that works as gathering dust in a basement or something, and would be happy to get it going if we could just stimulate the interest. So, Phil, does anybody else have a 2-meter handheld in here? Okay. Okay, great. Why don't you go to 140,
It's not on me.
147.42? Do you have it on you?
No.
Okay. Phil, would you turn
It's
on?
on.
Okay. So, what the tricky thing with this is you have to turn it on to transmit, so that will give you the modulated signal that can pick up on the FM. But then you have to remember to turn it off because when we're on 40 meters, when we stop
Like
keying,
little
it stops.
sticks.
It turns off. This
When
thing
you
you have to
say-
remind yourself to turn off.
What turns off?
Okay, well, what it is, you know how like when you're keying,
You mean the box?
What
Right.
it is
What-
your HT, you got to push the talk button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in order to enable transmit, you somehow need a switch to initiate
I
the
see.
transmit.
Right.
It's a
So there's
multi-pin plug.
There's a toggle switch on the front of this interface that throws the HT into transmit mode.
So it's a multi-pin connector, it's not just audio in.
No,
Yeah.
actually, the way the microphones in these HTs work is you take a 200 or a 2200 ohm resistor and it goes across the mic pins, and that's what puts it in the transmit mode. That's all that is.
Okay.
And so the instant you put a tone in there, the tone goes through a blocking capacitor and you modulate the HT. Go ahead and hit the key.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So there's a carrier now,
Yeah, the carrier's on constant.
so you're modulating the carrier.
QRM in the tuner.
Sure.
I don't know, he's gonna send us a call.
He should. He's on the air.
By the way, that's not a 5:55 timer, that's a real sine wave.
I
That's
know, I
a
know. I hear it. It sounds nice.
Good
I'm
job.
glad you volunteered to build the oscillators for all the classes coming up.
There you go.
Now,
Okay.
now the whole world's gonna come back.
So,
You're gonna get some nasty emails.
so there's a
tomorrow.
prototype that I put
Now,
together.
now remember, you have to turn the sucker off.
There's a prototype that I put together for Art that's there. There's a piece of paper I passed around. I laid out a little PC board. It's 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And all the parts plus the printed circuit board, $5.
Now, why don't you put a modulator activator so that it puts the resistance across the mic
Too much
pins?
trouble.
So when you key, it has like a delay and,
You keep it on the
Well,
air for,
you're
you
not
know,
quite certain how
like-
the rig's gonna respond to that.
Exactly.
There's a billion different
There's a
HTs.
low delay.
okay, so it's
just-
not
you don't
a
know.
common thing in all radios then?
Right, now the
Yeah.
other thing is on that little board, there's a little jumper pin so that if, for example, you wish to use your base station,
mm,
it's just a switch that goes to ground. You can use that to initiate
Push the
TR on
top,
the
right.
standard rig.
okay.
Yeah,
So it'll work with either an HT.
Flip switch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
flip switch.
like I said, it's a $5 deal if anybody's interested in them.
I mean,
You know, he's gonna need somebody to get on the
Right,
other end.
and I was thinking that,
That's the hard part.
wouldn't it be fun in your class to have a couple of these, have people 100 feet away and just have a QSO?
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that would
actually
make it
an excellent idea.
Yeah.
John and I were just talking about this. We were gonna buy little dummy load resistors, use a loop antenna, and then have a KX3 and a KX2 and go
Right.
across, but with the HT and
the
that
road
board,
fan.
HT and simplexers.
yeah,
Right.
$23, I
Fine.
can get a both.
Right.
In the next room, we're talking about just going in the next room.
Right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's
Well-
the thrill of radio.
Now,
you
that
know?
would be,
Now,
that
if
would
you
be an
guys, if
excellent
you guys are
idea.
interested in this, as I said, I've laid out the board.
Yeah.
And the parts are coming in tomorrow.
At least two.
If you like it, I'll go ahead and order
Yeah.
like 10 boards.
I'll take
The
it.
club will
And,
take at least two.
And
maybe
then you
f-
guys
maybe
can
four.
play with it and see what you think. It
No,
might
I
turn out
love
to be
it.
pretty good. And you know, guys in your class, when they graduate,
Right.
they may very well want to jump on this before they jump into HF. It may work
Right.
out pretty
Well,
well.
I don't know that I want them to do that. I'd rather them get right into HF, but if they don't have an HF radio, then yeah, it's a start for them to
But
have
this
a
would
little
just be
local.
a
The whole
demonstration of wireless
The
CW.
whole
I
revolution.
mean, this is what,
rather
yeah,
than-
exactly, you
Yeah.
know, but that's what I was thinking.
No, I agree completely. So, Phil, the club will take at least two, and then we can have our QSOs, because that is part of the classes to do the QSOs. This is the
Yeah,
first class
right.
where we didn't actually separate everybody and have partners working together, and the only reason I didn't do that this time was because I found that sometimes the slow person with the person who was slightly faster or just as slow, they got nowhere. So
Yeah.
instead, I sat at the head of the class at CQ and waited for students to answer me. And I thought that was a better method. But for those who are advanced, it would be great if we had an HT that we could just set up in
That's
each
a whole
room.
lot
Yeah.
simpler than bringing a
Yeah.
KX2 and a
Absolutely.
W and all that.
The
Yeah.
thing I should caution you about is, you know, every one of these HTs has a slightly different interface.
Sure.
Right.
So you'll have to make up the cable.
Assume it's a Bofang, because if the club has to buy two Bofangs for $23
Well,
a
I
piece, we
think you
can do
can
that.
probably use a standard 3.5 millimeter stereo cable.
Okay.
It'll probably work just fine with a Bofang. I can't remember what the mic interface.
This one was, well, anyway, this is a 2.5 meter, no, that depends on your rig, of course, but
Right.
my transmit is 2.5 millimeters. So you can buy them online, yeah, like a
Sure.
dozen of them.
Yeah,
for
that's
$5
not an
like that.
issue.
No,
I just-
the old pack of TNCs, they used, what was it, a 2K resistor?
Yeah,
and a
2.3.
0.01
Yeah.
capacitor, and it worked for just about any of it. any of those.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what this is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that, it would probably work with quite a few different radios with that set up.
Yeah,
out
well,
there.
assume that we'll do at least
Well,
two.
I'll order up some boards tomorrow and probably be 2 or 3 weeks till I get them. And
That's
then,
fine.
You
We
know,
don't have
putting them
another-
together is,
Next meeting.
Next
a
class
snap.
isn't until March or April,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, time.
even then, it'll be 8 weeks or 6 weeks in till we get to that point where we can have people doing that. But that's an excellent
you know,
idea.
it
That's the
might,
best idea yet for.
it
doing
might
it.
encourage people to give CW a try. I mean, it makes it
Exactly.
just so easy.
Yeah, I agree completely.
And it makes it real too. It makes it real.
Yeah, you can set
Yeah,
them
That's
up.
the idea. You're not just, it's not just hypothetical. Did some dollars
Right,
or
no, it's
whatever.
a great idea. Thank you for
That's all right.
doing that, and thank you for showing us, Art. Appreciate it.
You're more than welcome.
I
I'm
look
glad.
forward to testing it out. I need to get another Bofang, but I would like to
Sure.
actually use that because, we could easily transmit between the walls.
Yeah.
And
The whole thing.
You can go out in the car or something.
I-
Wow.
I think,
Man.
You are bad.
I
You know
think,
that?
I
You may have
think,
to cut a hole.
it's possible.
19-inch
Run the
slot,
coax, run the
Yeah.
coax straight to the radio.
Possible.
Yeah,
Let's see, Carol, you have something with you, I see. What do you got?
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Let me
Art.
have
Go ahead.
Sorry, Carol, 20 more seconds. If you guys go on YouTube, go into 2 meter CW. There's some interesting stuff,
Okay.
And it's
Oh,
just-
in the 2 meter CW?
Yeah, but what it is 2 people that want to do CW, and so they're stuck with 2
Right.
meters. 'cause
Sure.
They live too close
Have
to
you
each other.
heard people on CW on 2 meters?
About
Because I
20,
haven't for about 15 years.
I haven't for about 20. I
Okay.
have heard.
Okay, all right.
Just so you know.
All right, thank you, Art, appreciate
You're
it.
welcome, you're welcome.
Good bit.
Yes, Carol, what do you got?
I've actually also heard AI6UO, Yoan,
Oh, yeah,
on, with his Morse code oscillator on a 2 meter FM radio. And he was calling CQ. I think I was driving around Natomas and heard him on my mobile radio, and I answered him back on voice. Of course, I
Sure.
said, "Don."
he was on Simplex.
He was on simplex. He was on a simplex frequency, so
Yeah.
he does that sort of thing. Thank you very much. That's a great idea. I hope-
No, my pleasure, and I want to thank Phil for kind of guiding me through
Yeah.
the process and listening to me
Yeah,
and
great.
all that.
So
So.
this is the
Yeah.
information.
I'm just concerned that a lot of these no-code amps are going to be confused and think these are repeater IDs.
Right. Yeah,
Well, we'll have to learn.
They'll have to learn to understand what it's all saying. Okay, what I have here actually is a Pixie transmitter that was built in the DIY Radio Builder Group, which is a subgroup of the River City Arts. And I put this together on the PC board that Phil over there designed. What we did is we soldered all the little components in there. It has a crystal, one of the color
You wanna
burst
take a
frequency
picture of
crystal,
this?
3579 kilohertz. So it's in the 80 meter band. And it's a simple 2 transistor circuit. One of the transistors is the crystal oscillator. The other transistor operates as an amplifier in transmit mode, and in receive mode it works as a mixer for the signal that's coming in off the antenna. And then it has a little LM386 audio amplifier here. And I've actually used this on the air and had a QSO with
Oh, did you?
John.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I heard you too.
how many milliwatts is it?
This one I measured put out 100 milliwatts.
That's not bad.
I'm sure it could be increased if you use better components there in the output.
fan.
Yeah. So it does. I've also heard it not only just more. I've heard it beyond John. Of course, I've heard it over in the Point Reyes SDR. So that's about 100 and some odd miles away.
Is it transceiver or just transmitter?
It's a transceiver.
Wow.
It's a full-fledged transceiver and it operates full break-in.
But it's rock bound, right?
So
Rockbound,
it's it's got a bit of a back weight, of course,
704.
because the oscillator is operating on all the time. And if you want to hear what it sounds like, I got a little GP5 SSB receiver here. you're gonna hear the back wave. That's the back wave.
Right.
And,
Well, Tony, I'll tell you, don't even right.
the back wave is like 40 dB lower than the actual transmitters.
Sure. I mean, if you were to take that and put it on the other.
Yeah.
Walk down to the end of the block, you won't hear it, right?
Yeah, it's funny
you get
because
the back wave.
when Mark used to have his home brew radio,
Yes,
flick that
yeah.
oscillator on, you
Right,
could hear
you
it
hear
over
it.
the air
Right.
for about 2 miles.
But I can
remember
tell
that.
you one thing, when I was looking on the SDR, the Point Reyes, it has this waterfall that comes down.
Yep.
I could see very clearly, my signal I was sending out, and I could actually see a faint line, which was the back wave. The waterfall is that sensitive that it'll
Yeah.
pick that up. Or
Right.
we would pick it
It is
up with
amazing.
here.
And what frequency is it on?
This is 3579, which is the color burst for
Part of
those
the bed
color
frequency.
TVs.
Yeah.
And
Great.
those crystals are a dime a dozen. That's why it's a
Yeah, the
popular.
old color
You can
TVs.
buy those kits all day long
So,
for $5.
3575 megahertz?
3579 kilohertz.
79.
Oh.
That's why you used to
really
wipe
well.
out all the
It's 80 meters.
TVs.
80
Yeah.
meters?
Yeah,
Oh,
80 meter
okay.
bands.
Get it right through the tune.
So that's what this is. And I just
Yeah.
brought it to show you
That's
guys.
pretty cool.
Works off the battery. Yeah.
Where do you get the Pixie?
Well, that was part of
Wired
our
Communications
Yeah.
sells the Pixie kit, I think it's $5.
$5. You can get them on eBay for even cheaper than that.
Yeah,
$2 or
and
$3.
Alibaba, I
Oh,
think
really?
Alibaba's got them for like $2.95.
So they're meant
or
for the
something.
kids to have fun building a little radio then.
Yeah, the receiver, I have to say, it has no selectivity whatsoever. It's
I don't think
completely
so.
So you have to build a Q, you have to build a Q filter for
A
it.
Q multiplier,
A Q
that would be
multiplier, yeah.
funny.
The whole AM band.
And, but the sensitivity, I don't know exactly what to say, it's not very sensitive at all. It is very susceptible to overload from AM broadcast signals, if you've got strong
Yeah.
broadcast signals in your area.
IMD or something,
Yeah.
just got
So
Desensors.
when I was using it with John, I had a broadcast notch filter in the circuit to eliminate that interference, and it worked halfway decently.
What did you use for an antenna when you were doing your testing job?
I was using my 40-meter loop antenna. It's up 20 feet. It's
How
150.
how loud was that? How did you hear him? And you were on your Pixie too, right? Oh, you weren't. You were on your regular radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watts.
You're on the
Because
big
you built
radio.
the Pixie also, didn't you?
Yeah.
And what was John? Did he sound okay?
Yeah, he sounded good. He said I was like S5.
And then how did you hear Carol?
S5.
Oh,
S5.
you heard her S5,
Yeah.
and he was just really loud. Or?
Well, yeah. He was using his 10 watts, and I was using.
No, I'm thinking with the selectivity not
It's
being
gotta be
great,
like
maybe it would
2
be.
or 3 miles as the crow flies.
Yeah, and
Not very far to your
I did make a
Right.
video, and it's posted on YouTube.
Oh, I think you sent me that video.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did with it. I think it's in the email. I just haven't. I don't know why I didn't post it.
You know,
You got the link.
I
You know what,
did.
I want to ask a question at this point. If, our club member Bob Mix is the one that put together this DIY radio.
Right. Yeah.
And you start off with an audio oscillator and then an RF oscillator, and then we get into
Build it up,
PCs. Yeah, the finishing project is a regen receiver. If Bob were to do this again, is there anybody in this group that might want to get into the DIY thing?
I have no problem with that. I like it. I enjoy it. But the only thing is, well, for me, it's time.
It's one night
Right.
every 2 weeks, it's not a,
yeah.
Where does he do that?
well, we've been using the libraries as a place to.
Various libraries.
I mean, I'm
Typically
sure I could get a
Thursdays.
room here if you wanted.
Well, there's an idea. The basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
Basketball
most
court.
nights there's always a room
Well,
available.
Sure, Bob would like that. Easier to deal with you than the library people that closed too early, like last time.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even.
I went over there.
Yeah,
Well,
So
that
this
was
doesn't look right.
Thanksgiving
Look at the
Eve, that's
email.
what happened. They closed early.
yeah.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
shut 'em down.
All right. Well, yeah, that's something.
So if you think there's an interest, I'll mention it to Bob.
I'll put it in the newsletter.
Yeah.
and I'll
In fact,
see if
in fact, he
anybody.
mentioned he's got a new circuit he thought he wanted to try out.
What's his call sign? Do you know?
KF6 Alpha Bravo Charlie. ABC.
Yeah.
The new one is a digital VFO, you know, with crystal display. No LED display actually, and an encoder, SI5351 chip.
Okay.
And then there's a receiver circuit and a transmit circuit. So you tie all three together, you have the transceiver.
Sure. Is it a once a week?
The way he ran this is once every other week.
Oh, every other week. Okay.
Ah.
And then
Second, third Thursday. Well, he tried to, the
First and
and
third,
what is it
second
about?
and fourth.
And
No, second.
and is each week a new kit?
Well, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, when guys are having trouble putting things together, you may drag it out for 2 weeks.
Is it a
But-
bring your own soldering iron?
At the tail end, most of it's, you know, plug in a little perf board, you know.
Oh, okay. They're on
okay.
the little whiteboards.
And
No.
when we did this the last time, it was $16 for all the parts.
Okay.
And I don't know what it'd be next time.
With the
yeah,
tariffs.
What's that?
With the tariffs.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
we said it, we had some
1603.
issues. We had some issues with people completely outside of our organization. We advertised it as for club members, and suddenly we had people we've never heard of that signed up for this class. And kind of
It's not a bad
caused
thing.
us some grief. So we thought we'd charge a differential to kind of offset the difference there.
Makes sense. Is he charging? Or
I'm
is
sorry?
there no charge, or is he charging if we do this?
Well, you'll need the parts.
Well, of course, I mean, I'm
But,
saying.
and it was
He's charging for
16.
the parts.
The worst
Oh,
case would be
okay.
$26. The worst possible case.
Sure. And then,
But I'll see if he's interested in doing it again.
how many weeks did he run on the
I
last
think
one?
this ran about, I think it took about 3, maybe almost 4 months to go through the entire thing. But again, it's only one night every 2 weeks.
And whenever you want to go, you don't have to, if you're,
Well, you kind of want to go in sequence.
Yeah.
You want
Okay.
to do the audio oscillator and then the
Yeah.
RF oscillator.
oh, I see, because he's building pieces
You're
of the
building
transistor.
technology. And he also goes into using linear technologies,
Right.
I'm trying to say,
Mixers and
range not collection, spice,
Mhm.
LT spice. So you learn how to look at circuits, models of circuits.
I haven't
play
used
with
the
it.
SPICE program for like, again,
That's about the size
12
of that
years.
interface.
been so long.
But it's an interesting little course. He's done a great job with it.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll put it in the newsletter. I'll see if
Well,
anybody.
I don't have an answer out of it.
No, I know, I'm gonna see if there's any interest.
Oh, that's.
I'm gonna put a thing in there that says, you know, anybody who answers this email gets $5. And if
Yeah,
anybody,
sure.
and we'll see if the club actually has to give any money
Well,
away at
that's
all.
what you need that money for.
Well, you know what it is. I don't really
As
know
long as
how
it
many
doesn't
people
involve
read
the
our
Ukraine.
email.
Okay.
Erez, did you, I'm sorry, are you, we're good on
I'm
there?
good.
Okay, good. Erez, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share, I live in an HOA neighborhood, and it's been a year that I've been trying to repassable a hidden antenna that I could put together under the eaves, along the fence, inside the attic. I reached antenna nirvana now. I have an antenna that I'm really, really happy with, so I'm so excited that I wanted to share it. So the antenna is actually a wire, it's 135 feet long, flies over my house. It's anchored on one side to a tree in front of my house, on the street. I threw a fishing line, oh, it's very invisible, and hooked this wire to it. This comes from thewireman.com. It's a 26 gauge wire. It's extremely thin and dark. It's not visible. So the antenna starts from the tree with this line to this, runs over the roof of the house to my backyard, In the backyard, I have this painter's pole, which opens to 12 feet, like so. And this is mounted to a flood mount. It's exactly the right size to fit in this. And this is kind of nice because I mounted this on my back fence, and it's tilted like so into the fence. So it doesn't look like I'm intruding on the neighbors or anything. It really goes into the property, and it's very long. So it's kind of none of the business what I'm doing 12 feet into my property. And that's holding this at the other end. So I now have a half-wave 80 meter. It's configured as OCF, so it resonates on 20 meters and 40 meters as well.
Good.
And for a good measure, I put a remote tuner in there at the feed point instead of just a balance. And it's working beautifully.
Good.
I improved my signal by about 3 S-points.
That's a lot.
I was
I
doing
heard
before.
you, so, yeah.
And it's a very happy situation.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
actually goes essentially from one corner of my property to the other corner over
Really?
the house. I don't think I can do better than that.
So there's no center point, it's a sloper?
Off center
It's
fit.
It is, so there is a center
It's
point.
an OCF.
Okay,
Well, get a lot of you ever been on
It's
80.
an OCF fed at 1/3. The 2/3 section is a sloper. The long part
right.
is a sloper from the tree to the fence,
hmm
and the 1/3 runs along the fence
Oh, okay,
at about eye level.
right.
It's kind of,
Like a beverage almost.
Yeah.
it's like an elevator radial, if you wish. But the 84 feet longer section is up in the air, and it's working beautifully.
Yeah. What did they charge you per foot on
This
that
is
stuff?
about 25 cents a foot,
25 cents a foot.
and it's part number 534.
Number 534,
Yeah,
and that's the 26 gauge?
yes, 26 gig.
And that was stranded too, right?
Here's the spec.
Thank you.
So what do you feed your antenna with?
At the feed point, I have an antenna tuner, and then there is 150 feet of RG8X that goes across my yard through the attic into the shack.
What's the
And-
center feed? Is it just the coax, or do you have a
The
balance?
coax goes into a tuner, a remote tuner,
No, I mean, oh, it's a remote too, so you have
which is
tuners at the
at
feed
the
point.
feeding point.
Okay,
So I have a perfect SWR on the coax.
right.
So is it one of those electronic automatic tuners like the SGCs?
It is an HGC 230.
Yeah. Those are pretty expensive, aren't they? But
I
they're
got it used on eBay, so it was good.
Oh, okay. I know they normally go over $200 when you buy them.
Can I keep this, or do you need this back? Is this a receipt?
So
He's
you
got-
use the ground lug on the SGC for
Yes.
one side and
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
okay.
Some people do something like that for an end-fed.
Yeah, that's why I asked if it was an
Yeah.
infant. I thought maybe.
Yeah, you could look at it as an infed with the radio.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you get a perfect SWR. Now, what if you just fed it with a balun at the 1-to-1 or 2-to-1?
I did.
Actually, a 4-to-1.
It worked also very nice because I played with the lens
Yeah,
to optimize it, the frequencies.
and you got it on 80. Is that where you tuned
Yeah.
it? Sounds like it based on the length. So
Yes, it worked well without. I had SWR under 2-to-1 on all
pretty
lens.
good. You're not going to get
But
too
I
much
had the
better.
tuner around, so I put it in.
That was an OFC on a balun with the 2-to-1,
Yes,
and then it was a
but it was very sensitive to the length of the feeding cords.
Yep.
right. Yeah.
So the tuner just made it a non-issue.
hmm And what's the? Oh, it's not just 12 feet up on the other side, is it?
One
With the
side
pole.
is 12 feet up and the other is 30. It's connected to a tree.
Okay, so you just tossed it over.
And you
the
don't
tree.
see anything from the street because the wire is
That's
so
too
long.
thin, yeah. I use 12 gauge, and It's black also, and honestly, you can't see it from the street. From what do you think that's driveway's like 40, 50 feet long maybe? And even from 40, 50 feet away, 12 gauge is hard to see, so that would be impossible. And you load that with 100 watts, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
have much
We,
more than that.
we
It would
did
grow,
receive,
I think, if I would use more power.
do you recall the letter, were you here when we got the QSL card and the letter from the gentleman in Vancouver? I think he was in Vancouver, and he sent a clipping of wire, and it was probably that same wire, and he was touting how people don't need to have big antennas and they can go stealth with this 26 gauge wire, and it would work just fine for a 100-watt radio. And I agree, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that,
Only the 2/3 portion is made of this.
right,
And I measured actually resistance, and this has 10 ohm resistance for the lens.
That's a lot.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I'm feeding with like 200 ohm at feed point.
Sure.
So,
That's, you know, an antenna has a certain feed point impedance. You know, typically a dipole half wavelength of feed point impedance is about
70.
72 ohms.
Yeah.
So if you've got another 10 ohms of resistance, that's a tremendous amount
the
of.
OCF has a feed point impedance of
150.
200 ohm.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a,
yeah, depending on how far out it is, it'll be between 150 and 200 ohms.
But
Yeah.
it's a good trade-off. It works.
Yeah, that sounds like a great solution.
good.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it's certainly good for anybody who is in a area. See, I'm lucky. I'm in a homeowners association, but one side of my house faces a non-homeowners association, so I put
You
the
got- you picked the
antenna
wrong
on that
one.
side, and nobody can complain because if I really wanted to, I could just bend it over a little bit, and it's on their side of the fence, and that's the end of that. They can't complain. But
You know, if they can't see it, you're not doing anything wrong.
well, originally they saw it, and I told them that I was using it to hold the sapling up because it was windy, and I didn't want the sapling to bend over and break.
The
So
cap hat on my verticals are bird Persians.
there you go. But that is great for anybody who's in an HOA. That just beats having to put an attic antenna in. Because I know so many people who want to put an attic antenna in, and I'm just like, you might as well just bury that underground because it's not going to do anything for you. But this would work just perfect if you had even on the eave or underneath the eave of a house. No one's ever going to see that. It's a great. You could also use that for a vertical antenna too.
Yeah, it's a slow.
Yeah, but you could bring it straight up a tree with a pulley or something and use it like a vertical, and then have a radial going out across, the back fence or something. So yeah, that's a great antenna, and it sounds like you're having really good use with it too. So now, you were on the air the other night with that on
Yeah,
the net?
as loud as it's ever been, I think.
Yeah, sounded good.
Yeah, and Rob got me in Davis. So
Yeah, I heard him in Davis, man. So
If
that's
you
great.
could,
Great.
do me a favor and
Yeah.
get an amp where you can turn the power up, and let's find out where it
Where the wire
When it
goes.
starts
getting warm.
where the wire just
You're
disconnects.
crashing on your roof, that there's a.
Yeah, I want to see at what point does that wire just kind of turn into a puff of smoke. That would be kind of
Well,
interesting.
you know, the ends of your antenna are high voltage points.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, late at night, that's when you want to hook a whole bunch of power to, you can see that corona discharge.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, bring out your neighbors.
And that dog that craps in your front lawn.
Exactly. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything they want to show tonight, or are we good there? Thank you, Erez. Thank you, Carol and Art and Phil.
I think we need to talk about the CUSO party.
I think that's not
Oh,
a bad
yeah.
idea.
Next time.
No, this time.
So California QSO party is
No, North America.
or North American QSO party is on January 11th. We will have a meeting, so we can discuss it. I know that we have a tentative location. Is there anybody that wanted to volunteer their location to hold the event at their home TTH? If not, then I believe, Bob, did you volunteer?
All in favor?
It's-
Volunteer, Bob.
Anybody anybody who's been out to Bob's station knows that
So what's on the menu?
Well, it's whatever your
you got
checkbook will handle.
6,500 and what was it, 78 choices. No, we could put prime rib on there. So yeah, so we're good then with Bob if nobody else is chiming up. We'll announce that in the newsletter as well, that the NAQP, North American QSO Party, will be at Bob. Won't say his call on here so that they don't go looking you up and you don't get people like in Phil's DIY class coming from the public. But
Right.
if you do contact the club and we vet you, you're welcome to join us at the event. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Bob has room for at least 100 people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got a little.
And
Yeah,
standing room
lots
outside.
of room outside.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
already a couple hundred, yeah.
So that'll be in the newsletter. And you said that was the 11th of January?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And that event goes from what, 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. till,
It was 10.
I think it's 10 to 10.
10 and 10.
Yeah, 10
It's a long
a.m.
party.
Yeah.
So we hope that everybody shows up. We will have donuts and coffee in the morning, or at least coffee in the morning minimum. And then somehow we'll get
Get food.
Bob to eat some flour of some
And
sort.
he'll die.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I want to test it. And then, of course, we'll order a late lunch or dinner for everybody, so you won't be without anything to eat or drink all day. That won't happen. So you don't need to bring a sack lunch with you. But we'd love to get everybody on the air. There's no pressure there. You're literally just sitting down with 5 or 6 people in the room, just chatting and just making contacts. You're just passing out a name, an RST, and
It's Sam.
yeah, Sam. We go by Sam for Samuel F. Morris, and then the contact number and I think an RST, and that's it. It's an easy contest. We do it for a social event. We're not doing it to win any awards. We don't need that. We're just looking to have some camaraderie between the members of the club. So James, you can get out there if you want to work it like a real contest and rack up 200 QSOs. Don't worry,
I can see he's chomping at the bit.
I know he likes to contest. So you know what? There's a few of us who make a lot of points, and you could be our next point maker. That would be fun.
The house, for anybody that hasn't been there, we're about 2 miles away from Thunder Valley Casino.
Where you can make a fortune.
Yeah, if you
Or
want.
lose it.
Or Louisville.
You could go over and eat at the buffet if you wanted. Of course, you'd have to pay for that yourself, but or you can bring back all the food you can get into your
Get it near.
into your pockets,
Yeah,
your
right.
satchel, bring it back to the club. We'll pay the $25 for the buffet. But yeah, Bob's got a great station. He's got a step IR up, what, 50, 60 feet?
75.
75, really?
Better, yeah.
And he's got a nice K3. So if you want to see a dream station, come on out and operate Bob's station. Because we need to get Bob's station on the air.
That's right, 'cause he never uses it.
And while we're there, if his microphone goes missing,
Right.
I don't know what happened to it. It
Cut
just
the
went
cord off.
missing. Or I mean, it might go. I mean,
There you
it
go.
could.
It
if,
could go.
I
It
mean,
just-
maybe.
It may be shorter than it used to be, right?
Yeah. So, and of course, this is an all CW event. So anybody who doesn't know CW, I'll write it down on paper what you need to send, and you're welcome to send what's on the paper because that's all you'll need to send.
And last time when people came, almost everybody used their own key. So
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, so you don't have
you
to.
don't have
There's
to.
plenty of
I've
keys.
got a venture
Paddle.
paddle
Oh,
and a
yeah.
straight key.
I know how to adjust.
Yeah, and there's always going to be at least
Just twist it real hard.
right, and there'll be at least 2 or 3 bugs, I'm sure.
Go wait for your bug.
So yeah, bring that, and if you need to, bring some headphones. I don't think it'll be
We never
necessary.
use it, but we always bring it.
Yeah,
right?
but you can bring them just in case. So we'll recap that again in our January meeting, which is what, on the 5th, I think? So I think there's 2 meetings in a row were on the 5th, and I think that was January also. So we'll reconvene
second.
here, or no, 2nd, that's right, thank you.
Second.
So I know it's New Year's Day right before, but you should be over your hangover on the 2nd, and we'll see you at that meeting. And
Unless
then,
we're doing SKN.
well, you know, you wake
Well,
up,
you can
sleep
bring it
during
home.
the
You
day,
can
and
bring it
you'll be
home.
home.
Bring during the day.
But the 11th isn't until the weekend after that. But we'll discuss it again and let everybody know about Bob's new K4 order.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
right.
So maybe you
That's,
can,
we're trying to use the club's money.
yeah, ask Wayne
I'll
to,
hold on to it.
why don't you ask Wayne to demo you a
That would
K4
work.
for the event? I'm sure he would. All right, so with that, I
This
think,
afternoon, I noticed there was a really nice Viperplex Junior that was not
Yes.
identified as a Viperplex Junior
yeah,
for $80 on
yes,
eBay.
yeah, started at 49.
Did people bid on it?
Barely. People are not bidding on bugs right now, so if
What
you're
Christmas
interested.
There's
I
a
had
lot
the
of them
same
go.
guy who has been trying to get me to buy his Model X new improved version. And that's the only model that I need of the X, so I was thinking I might get it. But he won't quite go as low as I want him to, but he sent me an offer and I was like, I don't need another key right now.
The X is a hard bug to.
Oh, my X is fine, but the new improved, I have never sent on one. I'd like to try it. So who knows? Maybe if I save up some Christmas money, I might give him his hostage fee for it. But
Well,
it's actually very reasonably
Every
priced.
big alley bug that I have ever heard is misadjusted.
Yeah, I agree with you.
K7FD is the only one I know that has a big alley bug that is adjusted correctly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they sound terrible.
Yeah, they can.
But they're a beast to,
Yeah, they're a little
they're
difficult.
not like a Viperplex.
No,
They're
it's all
real-
magnetic, but so.
real-
All right,
They
well,
cost $500.
Okay.
thank you for coming out, and hopefully we'll see you next month, and we'll hear you on the net on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you're gonna be
35,
officers
45.
next month,
It's a good
right?
one though.
At 8 p.m. Thanks to
Have a good
our
holiday.
viewers online, and we'll see you
Of
next
these,
month.
I
Sorry to go
thought
long on you
of
here.
a billion years ago, I probably, when I was getting my novice license and practice on